Calls meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Savers.
Here.
Goldhammer.
Here.
Dosher.
Here.
McCardle.
Here.
Barrington.
Here.
Bathke.
Here.
Charks. Smith.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. Public comment. Public comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. Individuals will give their name and the city of residence for their record. No action will be taken on public comment. The comments and views expressed by the public are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the view or positions of the City of Mitchell or the City Council. Would anyone like to supply some public comment? Okay, hearing none. Motion to enter into executive session according to SDCL-1-25-23 legal.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Barrington. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll be right back. Working.
That's yours.
Okay.
I got stacks on stacks, racks on racks.
It's whatever you think is the opposite. It's weird. So like to the right is down, I think. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Come on, baby. Slow down.
Yes. Are you sure?
Oh, you did it this morning?
Maybe I was. Okay. Oh, hey. The spooky ghost. Okay, are we ready to go?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to work in the City Council work session for the 2026 proposed budget. Turn it over to Kevin.
Thank you. We'll start out with the subsidies first. And like I said last time, I sent individual emails out to each council member. And what I heard back from a lot of them was they would like to restore everybody back to where they were a year ago, is what I've been told. So I don't know how we want to go about this, but.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have your name just one more time.
All right.
Okay.
We're good?
Yep, thank you.
And what I received from a lot of them were that, people had this in their budgets already and they weren't aware that we were going to try to cut them 30%, which would cut into their budget. So I'm just throwing it out here as what I had quite a few people reply back that they'd like to keep everybody where they were as of last year.
I can probably jump in, Mr. President, if you're done presenting.
Yeah, go for it.
So obviously Stephanie has walked through the revenues and the amount of money and projections for next year, which he's normally pretty conservative and dang good at it. And so with not a decrease in our revenue, that's where I'm coming from. Is I have no reason that we wouldn't take the originals back to what it was last year. So in saying that, I'm going to make that motion.
Sir. Well, we're not.
We're not doing motions in seconds. I think this is just establishing what we're going to be doing in the future.
In the past.
Well, but we have some changes we want to make.
Then we can.
I mean,
Well, do we just want to go down subsidy by subsidy?
Well,
Consider each one. I think that's a fine thought process.
My thought is, and you guys can do whatever you want, obviously, my thought is having a starting number of what last year's is, and then if you want to individually bring some up, do that. Instead of saying, we're going to add this one, but subtract that one, and then we're going to not do this one, but we'll add that one. So that's where my thought process was, is just have a base of what have a base from last year's number, and then if there's any suggestions or we want to look individually, then that's where we can have at least a starting point.
How about new subsidies?
I am recommending that we do not include new subsidies.
and that's what I heard from the majority of the people is they don't want to do new subsidies. So, do we want to do a motion or want to go line by line? Well, we made a motion anyway, so.
Well, it's up to you if you want to take a vote. You're running the meeting, but we have in the past. At least you know where we're at. Because ultimately we have to vote on this in November anyway.
Yeah, this is nothing set in stone until November.
Correct.
How much would this affect the budget as a total amount, Stephanie? Where will we have to cut other city functions and operations?
Looks like 273, 650.
Yeah, it's over $250,000.
Says the proposed subsidy budget's total 273, 650. If I'm reading your information right, Stephanie?
So you have 149,450 to the general fund
On this page.
and 78,750 to.
sorry, I didn't have my microphone on. $78,750 to entertainment tax. But the totals for the general fund would be $149,450 increase. And that shows no funding for anyone who didn't get funding last year, bringing everybody else to last year's funding level. I'm just double checking my work. Okay. I guess one thing I would point out, I think we had one of them that their application was less than, Safe Place, their request is $5,000 less than last year. Would you still put them at last year or at their application amount?
Well, again, we can talk about them individually, but my thought is go back to last year's numbers, and then we can
Start. Okay.
individually, if you want to bring them up to see if there's something else we want to consider.
Okay. Well, we'll just start at the top with ACT, Area Community Theater. Proposed for $29,750.
Do you want to see if there's support of my motion?
Yeah,
first?
let's.
That's what I
Okay,
was wondering.
I'll take.
So
That's
you'd
what
want
I
to,
was like,
just for
Keep things going
clarification, if you're wanting to look at last year's level, it'd be this one that says council action.
Okay.
Because the mayor had proposed a reduction in all subsidies, so the proposed won't match last year's level.
Okay. Well, let's do.
So what exactly is your motion?
So, this is Stephanie's worksheet, and I don't know if it matches the one you've got
It
up
does.
there.
Yep.
There's 2025 approved.
Yep.
Individuals?
That is the numbers that I'm saying that we start with.
So do we need a motion and a second to start with that, or we can just work off those numbers?
We had a motion in a second already.
for that column.
Yep.
And your
to make
motion
it
is to
clear
just
where we're
establish a
working.
starting point? Is it, okay, I was just making sure.
Well, we had a motion by Jeff, second by Dan. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay.
Nay.
Looks like 7-1. And we'll just go line item by line item from last year's. ACT Area Community Theater last year was $42,500.
I'll go ahead and start with this one. I don't, Jesse here, who represents ACT. Question I have is, I know last year, I believe the allocation of our funds was for, I believe for a column, maybe you have it, Stephanie, in our notes about roof damage to fix the roof, not repair it, but fix it and get it done. I guess I've been hearing, and I'm going to go by rumors because I don't know the truth, so that's why I'm bringing you up here. Rumors that might not have got done for the money that we did allocate to fix the roof. So, can you explain a little bit what you guys might have done with your subsidy last year?
The subsidy asked for last year would have been for phase 1 and 2, which would have been stage first repairs and then roof repairs. And both of those were completed. Roof was repaired, not replaced. I guess an impossibility from the ask from last year was cut in half as well from the target to do the roof. So those priorities had changed.
Yeah, I went and rewatched the subsidy from last year, and we talked about that. And
Yeah.
so the application, what happened in the application versus what questions kind of got changed in the meeting were different. So
It was during
really what happened, what they requested last year got done. I mean, it says right here, if you guys have your subsidy applications from everyone, previous subsidy, and it says what they did. So, but what was said was at the meeting was not that. So
previous administration.
correct.
I'm going to jump in here quick too because I specifically asked him, and I watched the video Mayor Hanson's talking about, and I specifically asked him, and Noah, I believe it's Arns,
Yes.
he specifically said it was for roof replacement.
I guess I haven't reviewed that, so I can't answer that.
That's what I remember it also.
I would move that we cut the funding for Area Community Theater this year because of that not following through on what the plan was.
Okay, so that leads me to a great point is we have now, according to what I did for the new subsidies, is establish goals for everyone. So will we be holding everyone from last year to that same standard and also in the future to the same standards? If they don't hit their goals, will they be losing their funding?
I think, I don't know if this is a solution to the problem, but maybe what should have happened is bills should have been turned in first for the replacement, and then we cut the check. Is that possible?
I don't think it works like that, does it?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
If we committed the $42,500 last year for an $85,000 project, why do we not wait until the project is complete? They don't need the money up front.
Because they can ask for their subsidy quarterly.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons
Not
why
a
I think
requirement to show verification that the work outlined in the subsidy was done.
which is exactly why I added that to the new subsidy applications, because we don't really know what happens with any of the money. Not to pick on anybody in specifically, but that's why.
I get it. I'm the first one on the list.
Yes, yeah. Change your name next year to something that starts with the letter Z.
Building back.
So, I don't know. I just think subsidies are a very delicate subject, and if we are holding them to something that their previous board president said and they didn't do it, are we going to do the same thing for everybody? In the spirit of fairness.
Yes.
Okay. So what was your motion?
To reduce to zero is what I have,
Okay.
but I didn't have a second.
Got a motion, but no second.
Do we have a second for that?
I'll do the second.
Motion and second.
Motion by Susan, second by Marty. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay.
Nay.
7-1.
So you're saying their subsidy has been reduced to zero?
Anything further from you there?
I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you.
CASA was approved last year for $5,000.
Are we going to have Jackie come up here?
Any motion
year,
at all? Or?
Now I would move to leave that at 5,000.
Got a motion by Susan.
I guess do we need to?
No, it's just if there's changes.
Only if there's changes.
Okay. Any changes to that, anybody? All right, we'll go on to Cornerstone Career Learning Center.
This is a new one.
And we said no to new ones earlier, so we'll just skip to the next one. Dakota Counseling last year was $13,000.
Mike, did you have something?
I was just wondering if there was somebody here from the audience from Cornerstone Career Learning Center if they want to speak.
I believe there is.
I don't want to skip over them.
Did you want to make?
All right. I am Kim Olson. I'm Executive Director of Cornerstone's Career Learning Center. And the application we submitted was to help support our education and employment training programs through the GED and English language programs through the city of Mitchell. And we've been in Mitchell just under 30 years now providing services. This last year we had a little over 800 students in our service area. Out of Mitchell, they served 125. Our main emphasis when we work on our program is workforce delivery. So the objective is to get adults continuing on in their education. So learning English, getting their GED, workforce training and workforce development, and then helping to fill some of those workforce positions in our community. 75% of the students who come into our program are working, but 44% of them are on subsidies. So that tells you you've got a problem with a lot of our individuals are in very low paying jobs. And so we need to get them some skills to get them moving up in the workforce. Can I answer any questions specifically?
So what were you specifically going to use this?
We were looking at $7,000. That would help subsidize, the majority of it would help subsidize an instructor. We are in a battle right now at the federal level to keep funding in our state and in our country for adult education services. And if we don't do some proactive things right now, we very well may not have any of these services in our state. Cornerstone service area is about 22,000 miles of our state. We have offices in Aberdeen, Huron, Mitchell, Yankton, Vermilion, and we provide satellite services in Pierre. So we're a pretty big program. We're very efficient, and we do ensure that any funding in one particular community always stays in that community. So this would be to provide salary and benefits, helped, obviously not the entire thing, some salary and benefits to help match our federal funding that and state funding that we are bringing into our community to help with that. And then a little bit to help with some of those contractual obligations that we just have no control over as the prices have been going up.
And you talked to me on the phone today, and you said you're looking for federal federal funding, and you need a local match.
Yes. All of our federal funding requires a local match. So in our grant, we work with the South Dakota Department of Labor and the federal Department, in the federal Department of Labor now. And so we are a labor workforce program, but it does require a 25% match from any funding that we allocate into one particular community. Now that can be in-kind match, such as space. It could be an office space. It could be that. But the reality is our major expense is our teachers and our workforce so that we can provide the instruction that we need. That is a big part of it. So yeah, any funding that is brought into the community does receive a match to bring it into the community. So you're getting a lot more for your dollar, about a 75% more.
Stephanie, did we used to give money to Cornerstone? I know we haven't for years, but do we have a historical record of any money that we've given to that organization?
Not that I can see going back as far as 2011. I did update with some other information. Yeah, so I looked as far back as I could in 2001.
I can firmly tell you that we have not, because I've been there for over 30 years. So I was here when I bought Cornerstones to Mitchell. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. We kind of made a commitment not to take on new subsidies. Maybe there would occasionally we would do something for a special project or something, but in general, we haven't been doing ongoing new subsidy requests. So, I'm really sorry about that. That's kind of a decision that was made. Thanks.
So that's another question. So if anyone's got a subsidy now that was approved last year, they just locked in forever, and then what does someone do to get a new subsidy? I guess I'm just always looking for direction because it's.
Well, last year we gave the history
The Carnegie,
because they needed a furnace. I mean, that was a need they needed. I think things like that are probably things that we can look at. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know what the rest of the people are thinking. Something a need that one-time need, like ACT when they needed a roof because the roof was bad, so we helped out. I mean, something to that situation is what I would be thinking. I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but that's kind of the way I've always understood it to be.
How about for current subsidies and the ones that were last year? What are we looking to do in the future? If everyone already put in their budget that they're going to get approved for this, then maybe we need to talk about next year if there's going to be any changes. Or is this just something we do forever?
You know, the council is an ever-changing, it's a living body. And it, in the 13 years that I've been sitting here, I've been sitting with a variety of people for all those years. And one of the things that I remember we've said time and again is that we can't bind future councils. So future councils may decide to do things different. I mean, I can tell you that through the years, there have been a variety of opinions. And I know that anyone that has been here for a few years will remember that we had people who, you know, were staunchly against any subsidy money being given. So it's just been, it's something that it will be based on, you know, council by council. And, you know, that'll be a different body next year than it is this year. And so maybe they'll have a different opinion.
Let's move on to Dakota Counseling. Last year was 13,000. Any objections or talk?
Are we going to review to see if everyone did what they said they were going to do last year, like we did for the community theater?
That's up to the council. I'm
Not accusing you. I'm just asking if we're going to be in the spirit of fairness.
Hi, Michelle Carpenter, Dakota Counseling Institute. So last year we said that we would use this funding to continue to provide our 24/7 crisis services, and we did that, and we expanded those services to include 4 crisis beds, 24/7 firehouse model.
I will say I read your application and I think it got the most amount of highlights because I think you did a really good job. Like with all your proven numbers, at least 75% of crisis clients, 7 days of discharge. You're going to measure it through health tracking records and referrals. So I think you did a really good job with that. It's nice to see that kind of stuff. We can see in the future what we're getting for our money. So
Thank you.
a 20% reduction in jail and ER due to crisis intervention.
Yeah, I think
20% is a good number.
Meet that easily. I think in our application we said we were hoping for 100 clients this year. We're going to be closer to 2.
And these metrics will be reviewed quarterly and shared with stakeholders to ensure transparency and continued improvement. So
well, we'll go with the 13 then. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Dakota Heartland. Last year was 25,000. Everybody good at that?
we're going to have Dave come up.
Only if we ask him.
David Lambert with Dakota Heartland. I want to first thank you all. I've been with Dakota Heartland for 18 years, starting 19 in October. On average, you've given Dakota Heartland about $25,000 each of those years. That's $450,000, which sounds like an awful lot of money. But to be honest with you, it's been a lifeblood for obviously the communities that I represent. Of course, Parkston, Tripp, and White Lake, as well as obviously those other communities and projects. The soybean plant comes to mind. It's been actually 18 years since the ethanol plant opened north of town, and obviously the economic impact is been, from a regional perspective, no different than what we're seeing and will see in the future with regards to the soybean plant. So your continued support of the efforts that I'm working on would be greatly appreciated.
I've heard good things from different communities, what you do. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second, Dave.
Yeah,
So in the application, I know that Mayor Hansen gave us the opportunity to lay out the groundwork for the requirements. And one of the requirements was to spend this money in Mitchell. How are you going to spend this money in Mitchell?
So Mike, if you're talking directly,
Yes.
Obviously, part of my budget is for my salary. If you take a look at the indirect, which is obviously the sales tax revenues that are being generated, Roger Music, I think, did a nice job of coming in and explain to all of you that it's the region that really is supportive of this. And when we know that 40% of the workforce currently comes from outside the region, then obviously, as I've said before, a rising tide raises all boats. And what's good for Mitchell is good for the region and vice versa. So, the other component, Mike, that obviously is reflected is the fact that when you look at return on investment, typically people want to see a year for year return on investment. In economic development, that's almost impossible to do. Case in point, Corsica just got done with a business park. Took 4 years to basically complete that. Parkson's working on one now. That's 18 months that'll take to basically complete that. So anyway.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Corsica thing because I know you do a lot of work down there, and right now our friends to the south are going to need some help because lost a major business in their community. So right. I will agree to this one that we should be funding it the 17.5.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
But you heard me 17.5.
It's 25.
I know what it says.
Oh, Mike.
I said 17.5.
It says in your application 2 affordable homes for each of their community. That's your goal for each one of these communities, Tripp, White Lake, and Armor?
I'm saying, sir.
Your goal, it says here in your measurable goals in your subsidy application, 2 affordable homes in each town, each one of these communities for Tripp, White Lake, and Armor. Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you.
I too hear wonderful things, David, about the work that you do, and I know that there's a direct benefit with everything that you do to our community, and so I would like to see us keep this at 25,000.
So who's all in favor of 25? Because Mike said 17.5. I'm in favor of 25. I'll second that. Okay.
So it's currently at 25. You had one person who wanted to move it at 17.5. If you don't have a second, it'll die for lack of a second.
Okay. Any seconds? We're at 25. Exchange fireworks display for $10,000, which I think something majority of the town benefits from. Anybody against that?
I'll speak up on that one. Fireworks been $10,000 for a long time. Cost of fireworks has gone really up. I think it's a great community project. So I think we need to do the increase. My question is whether 3,000 is enough, because I know what's went up the last 5-6 years, but it's just it's really a good community project, and I'd like to see at least the 3,000 increase, if that's enough.
I wanted to do 15,560, so it's $1 per person that lives here. But
I love that number.
I know, $1 a person.
Is there anybody here from fireworks? So as he's coming up, as a person that loves their fireworks, I don't want to pass up the city display, but I'm getting real close. No, just kidding. But over the years, exactly what Dan said. Obviously, I think everybody knows what happened in the last 4 years of the world that we live in, and fireworks are one of those that have abundantly went up in price. Unless you guys are getting a great buy, I know that my fireworks have changed in price, and I probably 400 or 500% more over the last 4 or 5 years, and this number's been at 10 for quite some time. So I was good to see the 3. I was questioning the same thing, Dan, that you are. Is how can you guys make that enough? So if we got to 5 or whatever, which is a minimal number, but it's still a huge number for the evening that it entails, I'm definitely in support of 15. But I guess if you guys got a different answer on how you're making things work, it's impressive because what you guys put on is a great show, but we also know where those numbers have been going, at least I do personally. So I'm for a bigger number too at 15.
My name's Aaron Moeller. I'm the treasurer of the Exchange Club. We were told by the company that does the fireworks that it is going to increase $6,000. So that's why we did half of it, hoping we could raise the other 3,000. But I don't think we're against getting more, I guess. But that's where the 3,000 came from. We were hoping to fundraise for the remaining.
Yeah, and I know you guys do plenty of fundraising on other things throughout our community through the years, and obviously still on fireworks. I know you're putting some additional funds in it. And the one thing I don't want to have happen is we tend to go backwards. I mean, when the firework company is already telling them that, hey, you are going up, you're going to go up 6,000. It's already been pre-notified. I think I would love to see us help them out a little bit more, knowing that they're still going to probably have to raise some additional funds for this process. 15 still not going to cover it. It just won't. If we want to show that, I believe we should have in the city of Mitchell.
Is that a motion?
Yes, that is a motion of 15.
15,660, our exact population, just for fun, or it's always been a goal of mine. So
Hey, I will match the mayor's number at 15,000. Was it
660?
660.
That's what the sign
That's my
says.
proposal.
$1 a person.
I'll second that. But I do have a question. Have you guys looked into the cost difference between instead of doing fireworks? I know drone shows have become very popular in other cities around this area.
I think you asked that last year, and we did look into it, and it's incredibly more expensive to our knowledge. I thought Yankton might do it, but I'm thinking for a minimum, you're going to be at 50,000 for that.
Yeah, after I asked the question, I did the research, and I found similar numbers. I just thought I'd...
Yeah.
Right.
We had a motion by Marty, second by Tim to raise it to what, 15,660? Is that the number?
Correct.
Yes.
All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion passed for $15,660. Horseman Sports is approved at 0, so we're gonna move on, or we're gonna...
I think there's some people here who want to speak.
Let's have them come up.
Hello, my name is Brandon Nagabar. I'm the president of Horseman Sports, and we are trying to rebuild our facility out there to hold our shootout at the lake, and then our youth rodeo, which this year we had 171 kids out there for that youth rodeo, and we're trying to turn that into a 2-day event, but need a second arena and some bucking chutes to do that. So that's what we're here asking for, some money to kind of revive ourselves and be able to do these things.
Any
Hey.
questions?
Just out of curiosity, do you go to the Sports and Events Authority to get some support for your events?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess I don't remember how much are you getting there?
I can't exactly recall, but 5,000 or something like that, or 7,500 is what we got for that.
Have you guys been this year? Because I'm the chair of that. I don't remember you guys being up there this year.
Well, I might be thinking of last year. I don't know if Wade applied for that this year or not. We didn't get anything this year. Okay.
Okay.
We didn't get anything this year. That was 2 years ago.
My memory is as bad as I thought it was then.
But the youth rodeo and the gals who put that on, and we take no money from the youth rodeo. They're putting it on out there for the kids, and they want to make it a 2-day event, which adds some calf roping and barrels and poles and things like that, and that's where it comes. The second arena would come in, and the chutes. And then the bleachers, which we purchased ourselves, and I don't know if anybody have seen them out there. They were bleachers that came from the Canastota football field, 140 feet worth. And we moved them this spring and set them up. We got 2 sections we've got to put up yet. We ran out of time before our shootout at the lake. But the boards on there could use some replacement very soon. So, but the steel framing, angle iron, and everything that supports them is in very good shape. But we know boards don't last that long, forever.
Any questions for Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon, how many? Did you guys do a 2-day rodeo this year or 1 day?
2.
So approximately how many people attended it?
Do you have any numbers on that?
Just shy of 800 each night.
He said just shy of 800.
Just shy of 800 each night.
And that's, for us, that's full capacity. It's all we can do at that present time. We have two portable bleachers.
Yeah.
We have two portable bleachers that we purchased from the
Can you
city.
state your name so the people?
Oh, Chris Realty, Mitchell, South Dakota, Vice President, Horseman Sports. Why my wife's gonna be proud. But, we purchased two portable bleachers from the city on Purple Wave or whatever you want to call it, how the auction deal. But I got some numbers here I can give you.
So would this be one of those one-time funding things like the Carnegie Resource Hall?
What's that?
I'm just asking the council.
Oh,
Let's let them
and
talk first.
so like at Shootout Lake, we had approximately 800 people per night, and that's about full capacity for us for what we have. Every month we have a team roping, which averages 150 teams, which bring a lot of people into Mitchell. Like Brandon said, just shy of 200 kids. And I don't know if you guys went out there, it amazed you. You couldn't park a moped on all the horse trailers and all the people coming. We had kids from Nebraska, Wyoming, as far as Rapid City, Wyoming, Nebraska, come up for this deal. Got barrel racing events. I've had two cities contact me as far as wanting to put on a 4-H rodeo, which would be awesome for the city of Mitchell. A 2-day event, but I'll go to, is it Mr. McCardle? Is that correct? He says the need, you need a furnace. We need a set of bucket chutes and another arena to succeed. Our bleachers, we can make do, but we rent the buck and shoots every year for our shootout at the lake. We can't afford to rent buck and shoots for our junior rodeo or have these other cities that want to bring it to Mitchell. And you have big cities, one of the largest cities in South Dakota, that have contacted us that want to bring a 4-H rodeo 2-day event to the city of Mitchell. And I understand he said no new ones. Can you give us direction if we're going to get $0, how we go about it for next year, or do we just pound sand? And I don't know. I'm just a blue collar worker. I don't know, and my wife's not going to be very proud of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys answer his questions?
I'm just looking through this, and you can see that besides those entities across the street that work for our community as a whole, your ask is bigger than anyone else's. And it's just, $120,000 is a lot. Can you break it down for us at all? I feel like this is like I said, it's a big ask.
Yes, ma'am, it is. And I've always, it's go big, go home. You ask, you get turned on. It is what it is. I understand that. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe Stephanie does, or Jordan, the buck and shoots or the secondary arena. If we could get one of the two, we're moving ahead.
The second arena is probably the top on the list, which that one was like 53,000. The bucking shoots were 36.
53,978 for the. I'm not sure what this is.
Pretty certain that's
This is a bunch of
the arena
talk, so I'm not sure. Yeah, so 53,000 for that, and the other one is 36,000 for
new bucking shoots.
For the bucking shoots, we have no bucking shoots.
It's just catwalk. I'm guessing that's what that is.
And if they want to do youth steer riding and horseback, bareback riding, and saddle bronc riding for the kids, We don't have bucking chutes, and like Chris said, we can't afford to rent bucking chutes for an entity we take no money from.
Which one's the bucking chutes? 36,000.
6 of them.
Yes, sir.
6 bucking chutes. It doesn't say. So it's 36,000 for 6 of them.
And it's all itemized. It doesn't say like exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, and that's if I can't see what.
Yeah, that's the page I'm on. I'm not sure what any of that stuff means. Catwalk and track, and then the next page after that, Stephanie, is the other.
Yeah, I'm adding these together because I'm not sure how they're adding them to.
3 left, 3 right.
There's more than one of these.
Yeah.
On the bucket chutes, you got left and right.
You got 3 left,
and then you got a center delivery.
Buy 6 of these 50,000.
There's 36. The bucking chutes were like 36,000.
Right, they're right here.
And then,
778.
yep.
Yes,
and then
ma'am.
the second arena.
Is 50,478.
Yes.
Where's the other 100 then?
Yeah.
On your total ask. That's
Well,
your
there-
go big, go
there
home
was the
thing?
wood to replace on the
It
bleachers.
was
Oh, okay.
to replace the bleachers from Krogman Construction. I think it was like 29, 30,000, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to prioritize them, it's
My
the
last
arena, the bucking chutes, and then the bleachers.
You said
Or
you
any of
used the
all
word
of those.
need earlier. You need it to be successful. What do you need?
I think really the second arena would be nice, but the buck and shoots would be a top priority to where we could filtrate everything. We can have the youth rodeos where
Right, because right now you were saying you're renting the bucking shoots, aren't
we're
you? On a
renting the
yearly
buck and
basis,
shoots.
so
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're renting sort of blue sky.
We rent, and we rent them one time a year. We can't afford to rent them
Again.
3 times a year.
That's 36,000.
Yes, sir.
36,773 or whatever it is.
So I didn't make it to the youth rodeo, but I listened to it from the lake. And it was a lot of kids cheering, and you can hear the announcer and stuff. I want to say let's give them a chance here. Let's give them. We took the $29,750 from the area community theater. I say we would give them $15,000. So we're not doing half the bucking shoots, but we're helping them get there, and they can raise the rest of the funds themselves and put a little skin in the game themselves.
Mike, I missed your dollar amount.
15,000.
Well, I'm gonna second Mike. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I was a little higher than that number, but I'll second yours. So as a person that is out in the lake all the time, exactly right across from the rodeo grounds, I do see a lot of activity over there all summer long, and it's great to see because there's people running around. There's obviously practicing slack and everything else going on where they're just bodies that are moving around. If the bodies move around, that means the bodies are in town. So I admire what you guys are doing over there and how you continued over there. So I will definitely support Mike. And like I mentioned, I could have even supported the bucking shoots at 36, but
I agree
Back up
with
your
the
15.
36. I would have given 36 as well. As a one-time ask, like that's one of
And
those
that's-
things like the furnace or whatever. That's a really good point. I would say let's consider the 36,000 and get you some shoots that
I'd
you
appreciate it
don't
very
have
much.
I will amend it to 36,000 then.
36,773 or whatever that number
You
is.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
778.
778.
Yep. Okay, motion a second.
Second was
Marty, all in favor of the motion, say
Hang
aye.
on, I'd like
Okay,
further
hold on,
discussion.
any more discussion?
Sorry. When you look at your bucking shoots, I'm looking through your this year's expense report, and I don't see that specifically called out as far as what it costs to rent them.
It was in a hole.
The
It was in a hole. It was the arena. We had set up a
how much
smaller
was it?
pen and the buck and shoots.
So would that be the facility and equipment other, or equipment rental and maintenance?
I can't see that.
He's a blue collar worker, not an accountant, right?
I just on other in previous years it was called out specifically at $1,000.
I think that's maybe a difference between renting and having a permanent solution. Do you think,
Yeah.
Tim?
Parking utilities. No, this was last year's. This year's rental.
here's the shootout expenses.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Okay, the equipment rental was probably that 1561. That was actually from Sheldon Tobin last year, which was a heck of a deal. Now, Sheldon did not provide any equipment this year, which would reflect, which we hired a contractor for $35,000, which included him bringing in the bucking chutes and the fencing.
And what we're looking at here is creating a permanent solution to
permanent solution.
something that you're paying out
Yes.
this money every year
Yeah.
to rent.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. And Sheldon Tobin is a member of our club, and that's why we got the discounted rate 2 years ago. But
You know, we do expect to see that people who serve on a board, or I'm sure both of you are, you know, people who are willing to step up and do that. But this would be something that maybe would give you, you know, an opportunity to build something that's permanent.
yes, ma'am.
That's what that's our goal, is to make something permanent out there to continue to expand it. If we start getting these 4-H rodeos, they're huge. They bring in tons of kids and families that spend the nights.
And I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm a sucker for kids rodeo. So I think you know, those families come and they stay and they play and they spend a lot of money when they're here. So we appreciate you throwing those events. So.
Yeah, if you make it a 2-day rodeo, I'm sure their numbers will even increase because they'll get the other events coming too, the kids that want to do that.
Okay, is there any other comments before you guys vote on this? 36,778.
I think my last comment will be last year we had a different rodeo come before this board, and we suggested that we wouldn't fund them. So that's why I'll be voting no on this again, to stick with the path that we set forth last year of not assisting with extra funding for those events.
And I'll vote with you on that.
Okay. Let's just do a roll call, I guess, on if it's going to be.
I'll support it.
Let's do a roll call. Start with Michelle. Have Michelle do it.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldhammer.
Nay.
Dosher. McCardle.
Nay.
Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke.
Aye.
Charts.
Aye.
Smith.
All right.
5-3.
Very close. Okay. Thanks,
Thank you
fellas.
guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good luck. Thank you.
Next one will go to Mitchell Area Housing Improvement Incorporated for $50,000.
Yeah, maybe I can start on that one, Mr. President. Obviously, we had to start with a starting number. This is one that you don't know if they're going to use $1 or all 50, and we tie it up. And the thought process, at least when I visited with Stephanie, is maybe that's part of what we can put into the contingency. And if they do use it, because what it is if they take a house down, then we've got landfill costs, and we don't want to just say we've got free landfill, because that just isn't good business sense. So we've got it sitting there, and we don't think we've used it for the last couple years, Stephanie.
Just 2 years.
Jerry, yeah. So it's been 2 years. So we're going to say if they've got a project or taking a house down, and then come to us, and then hopefully we've got enough in the contingency to cover that. So I'm going to make a recommendation or to move to take that to 0.
So Jeff, here's the history: 22, 23, nothing in 24, and nothing so far in 25.
Does that carry over?
Nope.
Like what we didn't use?
No.
Nope,
So it
not
just
unless
goes
you
back
request.
in the general fund.
Yeah, unless you request me to supplement it next year, we could always do that.
I'll second that.
I missed the
Motion
motion.
and second for $0.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against nay, goes to 0. Next, MADC.
Hold on, did they want to talk? No. They're
No,
good.
it's
All right.
done. MADC for 182.
Going too fast.
I can't do two things at once, apparently.
Any comments? Is that a motion?
You already approved it at 182. So this would just be for changes.
All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Hold on.
Yeah, I got a couple questions as well.
I guess when Jeff made this comment, Councilman Smith made the comment about that we're gonna, if they decide to tear a house down, we'll give them the $50,000. And I've said this before, and it's not defunding them. That wasn't my words. That was Mayor Hansen's words. I do think we need accountability, and I've shared this with Mike, and Councilman Smith was in that meeting also, that I had proposed the 30% cut across the board with Mayor Hansen, and the reason I did that, I just thought it was time we toned it back some. We work for the investors. The people are the investors, and I'm hearing it a lot in that direction to tone it back. And it goes back to what he said again about the $50,000. If they need it, they can come get it. And I shared with Mike, I would commit to that if we cut it down to the proposed 30% cut. But if he had a project that he needed the money, maybe more money, to close the deal on, it would come back to council. We're the keeper of the purse. The 8 of us would decide whether we thought it was a good thing for Mitchell. Here.
Is that a motion?
Are we on Mahi or on MADC?
We're on MADC, but he's
MADC.
referencing Mahi as
MADC.
Just the same.
in all fairness.
So yeah, I will make a motion to do the 127.4, which would have been the 30% decrease that we had discussed with Mr. Luritz from last year's number.
I'm the other direction on this. If we're going to grow Mitchell, everybody talks about growing Mitchell. We got to put faith in them to spend the money wisely, to use it to grow Mitchell. So I think we should leave it at the same amount that we did last year.
No, he has a motion first,
Correct. One seconded.
Huh? Not yet. Then we're just waiting to see.
So just so you understand, Councilman Sabers, I'm not saying that they can't come get that money. I'm saying they start with this 30% reduction, and if they have a project
similar to what Mahi was in the past,
yeah, that they can come back with that opportunity for the community to grow. I don't want to sound like I don't want the community to grow. I do, but I just think that we are the keepers of the purse. We should be responsible for that, and that's all I'm saying.
Mike, can you tell me? Can you come up and say what your money's used for, so we understand?
I would start with, we do business retention expansion.
Can you state your name for everyone at home?
Sorry.
I know everyone knows you here. So,
Mike Lortzen with the Mitchell Chamber and Development Corporation. I would start with, we go out and we do our business retention expansion visits. We do our BRE visits, and we visit with our largest employers, and we ask them, what issues are you facing? What problems can we try and help solve? And we hear the same thing from those employers over and over again. We need more employees. We have the second lowest unemployment rate in the state. We know that. And then they say we need more affordable workforce housing for those employees. And then they say we need more child care. The reason we go out and do these business retention expansion visits, we go out with the Governor's Office of Economic Development. 80% of the growth you're going to see in this community comes from your existing employers. GOEDs, grant dollars, loan dollars, 80% of that is allocated towards existing South Dakota businesses. 20% they use for recruiting new businesses, because they know the business you have here in Mitchell, whether or not it's a small shop downtown or one of our largest employers. If the small shop adds 1 or 2 employees, that's growth for them. If we have one of our larger employers adding on, doing an addition, Dale's A1 Transmission, I know they came in, we worked with them. That's a good example of a smaller, medium-sized business coming in and doing an expansion. I think I had heard they were going to add 8 employees, something like that, with the expansion that they're doing.
I've had a couple people ask me, if we do reduce the subsidies, what will we lose? So what would we lose?
For us, a significant reduction like this would be something we'd have to seriously look at, potentially cutting staff.
Any other questions for Mike?
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to make that comment that I was going to say is the difference between the Mahi and this one is because Mahi does not have any paid personnel, but obviously
yeah,
the
they do
Mitchell
now.
development.
Mahi has paid personnel now.
That is correct. Yep.
They did. Oh, okay.
But that money was specifically for tearing down houses.
Correct.
Which, when Terry started, he drove around town and would spot a house that was in bad shape, and he'd go up and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'd like to help tear down your house and help you find somewhere else to live." Terry hasn't stopped doing that. You guys know Terry. He still cruises around town. When he sees a bad house, he'll knock on the door. He's still working with the same homeowner he talked about, I think, 2 times before when he was here. There's a house that he's working on. The guy's still not ready to leave. We've had meetings with the code enforcement officer when he runs into a house that's been reported for being dilapidated. We can reach out to that person and visit with them about, if they'd like to move somewhere else, we can try and help them transition. With that same thought, I would share with Mitchell Area Housing and the Development Corporation, we've done $750,000 in the last 3 years on our home rehab programs. We're helping income qualified people stay in their houses. We gave roughly $300,000 just in grant dollars out to homeowners. They have to stay in their house for 5 years. We put a mortgage against it. But these are people that are on a fixed income. They tend to be single parents or retirees. I've shared the stories about mold mitigation with a disabled vet whose wife has dementia. He cried when we finished that project and was so thankful to have the mold out of the upper level of his house so they could continue to live there. We're taking care of existing housing stock and doing that stuff. We give out more in grant dollars just through that program than we ask you guys for. We have $100,000 out for the child care, helping to establish new and existing child care facilities. That's one of the number one things we hear from employers. They want more child care. Continue to have conversations with Dr. Childs about that. He's working hard to try and solve that problem. So are we. Those two combined is $400,000. We give out more money than we bring in, but we're trying to solve the workforce issue, the child care issue, the housing issue. And of course, we continue to do business retention expansion visits, visiting with our largest employers, trying to solve problems for them.
I was in attendance at the ribbon cutting for the soybean plant, and I always am so proud when I hear a wonderful asset like that give so much credit to the Development Corp and for all the work you guys do. So I'd like to see us leave it at the current.
Mike's got his first.
Oh, I know, but there wasn't a second, so I didn't know if he was going to get a second. If he doesn't.
With the soybean plant, I would add, we set up the Davison Regional Rail Authority so we could help fund a 6-mile rail loop behind their facility or to the south of their facility. That was a $12.6 million very low interest loan. But, behind the scenes, we did a lot of lobbying with DOT to convince them to help with that project. That's a shovel-ready project. It was a win for the state. It's a win for Mitchell to have that. You talk about one of the main things we want is an export business, a business that does something here and then sells its product somewhere else, and then those dollars come back to us. That's the real, I would say, gold standard for economic development. That soybean plant, that every community would kill to have that, because that's exactly what you're looking for. They are transforming a product that's grown here, and so it's adding value to our farmers and what they're growing, but they're adding value to it, and then they're exporting it, and it's a $500 million project. I mean, the ribbon cutting they had was over 1,000 people. A lot of farmers walked in to that ribbon cutting and said, I came to see what I bought. They wanted a tour of the facility. The investors are local guys. That's money going back into our local investors. That's what economic development is. It's selling a product, adding value to it. That money comes back into our community, and then obviously adding jobs.
Mike, obviously being the liaison, I do know the answer to this question, but if you could maybe just give the comments of the industrial park that you're working on and the large amount of cash that you currently have.
Yep. We have $2 million cash on hand. We have an industrial park that we've bought. It's a 20-acre park right across from Trail King. There's been some stories on it. We did get a $1 million zero interest loan as a red light loan. It's backed by Central Electric. Cost of the project is $3.1 million. So I have $100,000 that I got to find to make the project go forward. But fingers crossed, we've got it. That's the preliminary engineering on that project. And so our goal with that is distribution centers. We want to see those, but we're open to any business we can recruit. We've hosted multiple businesses out there, I can tell you that, where we've given them a tour of that facility. We've also driven them around town to see other lots that are available, but we actively host businesses. Tends to be more of that industrial type manufacturing where they're producing something and then selling it outside of Mitchell.
Do you have any businesses that say, when you're done, I'm going to take a spot?
A
little pre-close.
We have some that still waiting for decisions. We had one on the hook last year. They wanted to build out there. They had to be open by October. We could not hit that deadline, and so they built here in Mitchell, but we couldn't get it built in time for them. So, yeah, we have businesses that are interested.
Anything else for Mike?
One thing, Mike. So you guys gave $100,000 to is it the daycare program or specifically that daycare out there on the bypass?
No, that daycare got $17,000. They received a $10,000 expansion grant. And so new and existing daycares could get $10,000 for expansion if they're adding capacity, and then $1,000 per employee. And that was South Dakota Community Foundation. I'll give them a shout out. They were gracious enough to give us a $100,000 grant. We've received multiple grants from the South Dakota Community Foundation. They have a 14% award rate, and shout out to Jerry Beck. She was a great grant writer. She's secured multiple grants for us, and it's because of the good grant writing and ideas that Jerry pitches at them. But yeah, Little Learners has received $17,000 in funding. 26 daycares in total, I think I have my number right, received part of that $100,000.
Okay.
No second on Mike's?
No second on Mike, so it looks like 182. Thanks, Mike. We'll go to Mitchell Municipal Band. Last year was 11.5, but I think with insurance and everything, we were going to add up to the 14.5. I don't know if
this is one that we had conversations about previously and kind of made a commitment to the band that rather than making them a city entity, that we would just help them with those added expenses that they have for insurance for their trailer. Yeah, so.
I'm Danielle DeCrife, live here in Mitchell, the past president of the Mitchell Municipal Band.
And I'm Molly Manchester from here in Mitchell, and I'm the current president of the band.
So you guys are exactly right. We're looking at getting insurance coverage. We're looking at getting some insurance on a new trailer and some additional equipment that we've gotten some grant money for. So with the quotes that we got, the updated quotes from what we had the year before, the offset was $3,000.
I'll make a motion for the 14,500.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Marty. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Just a reminder,
Nay.
we don't need motions for no changes, right?
Oh, we changed it though.
Okay.
Thank you very
Going
much.
up. Got
Thank
it.
you.
I didn't hear any nays. Prehistoric Indian Village. Last year it was 19,000.
I'd like to invite him up to speak on what some of the new programs they're offering.
Good evening. I'm Jerry Gary, businessman here in Mitchell, and been member of the Indian Village Board since 1978. And I'd like to introduce Christian New. He's our new executive director. Would you like to say a quick word?
Yeah, I've come up one other time just to introduce myself when I first was up here, but my name is Christian New, and I'm the new executive director out at the prehistoric archaeological site.
Questions?
Yes, Jerry, you said something about matching fund. Can you
Sure.
lay it out on us?
You bet. One of the biggest issues that we have, and of course that showed up this summer, is that we have a difficult time maintaining a steady flow of grant income every year. We do somewhere in that 80 to 100,000 of income that's generated coming through the front door, but the balance we have to raise through grants and such. And with 23rd Avenue closed this year, it's a beautiful development. There's no issues with that, but we lost our summer, $20,000, and the board had to step forward and through a series of cost cutting and gifts from the board, we're going to be just fine. So because of the issue of trying to maintain a steady flow of income, we've asked the city if we could raise that annual grant to $25,000, and the board has stepped forward and they'll match it dollar for dollar out of their own resources.
So with the road construction this year, if the road construction next year, that's going to put 100% of the people going by your state. You expect to get that back next year?
That's the plan. We've got a pretty aggressive plan going, and Christian, with his incredible enthusiasm and great ideas, is going to be a huge asset for the site. And just one last item. I don't know that if everybody understands this, but that site, National Historic Landmark, was owned by the city up until about 1975, and then the National Historic Landmark group was going to take that designation away from us, and the Chamber of Commerce stepped forward, protected the site with an $8,000 fence that surrounds the building the site at this time. And then in 1978, the city deeded that site over to this society, and we've been partners ever since. And you've been a terrific partner, and ultimately, since you're the owner, you do own the site. After 48 years on this board, we've always been able to step forward and make sure that everything is fine in terms of our budget, and we have no doubt that we're going to be successful going forward. But it is, at this point, about a $3 million asset to the city, and the board is very dedicated to, when there are shortfalls, we step forward and make up the budget.
Did you say, where did you get the funding for the fence?
Back in 1975, the Indian Village was part of a Chamber of Commerce committee. And they wrote a grant it was just a little over $8,000 to fence that site and to protect it so we can maintain the status as a National Historic Landmark.
I think I'd make a motion to increase funding to $25,000.
Second.
We got a motion by Tim, second by Marty. All in favor of upping it to 25,000, say aye.
Aye.
Against nay? 25,000 it is. Okay, next we are going to Mitchell Main Street and beyond. 45,000.
I'll talk to this. So the $45,000 is what we had last year, but one of the things I'd like to recommend is that one of the things that creates an added expense is that we are charging Mitchell Main Street and Beyond fees for their events that they're doing for the city. So I would like to see us waive all of the fees. Like they paid fees for Oktoberfest, and they pay fees for all of these community events out of the money that we're giving them. So I would like to see us give them the $45,000, and we have waived the fees in the past. I'm looking at, do you want to come up? Yes, Liz, come up. She can speak this better than I can.
And if possible, I'd like to talk about the fees because they don't pay it individually for each event. They pay for them all at once. They submit one event fee.
Stephanie, that's not how we actually did it this year. We paid all of First Fridays, those 5 together, but then we paid Memorial Weekend in Mitchell and Oktoberfest separately. I'm Elizabeth with Mitchell Main Street and Beyond. Sorry. Oh, do you want me to talk
Yeah,
more
go
about
ahead
it?
and-
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
why don't
sorry.
you go ahead and just
so in
fill in the
2024, those fees would have been $8,000, and in this past year they came out just over $3,800. And with us we're thinking about trying to do some more events. It's just in 2026 we were even. Actually, next month we were trying to do a downtown trick or treat like zombie run on Main Street, but it would cost us $250. Or like trying to do the trunk or treat part of it for downtown, we worked with our private parking lot instead of paying the $50 for city fees. It's they're for our community. They're community free events. They're for the overall bringing us together. So to receive money and then pay you back, I understand if we need to shake hands. It's an added expense to host these community events that we want to keep free for everybody to attend.
And I always have said, in addition to that the money that Mitchell Main Street makes is just a rollover fund to fund the next bigger, better, newer, and improved event. So it's not like they're like stashing money away so that they have, I don't.
Oh gosh, no,
Yeah.
we're not.
No,
If you were to look at like our 2024, we ended the year negative $3,000.
Yeah.
This year we're on budget just like we projected. We are not making a profit year to year. All of our events are community free events. The restaurant rumbles. It is meant to bring our community together and not divided.
And I think that's I'm glad you brought up the restaurant rumble, the burger battle, bash. I'll get the names all wrong, but those are all things that have direct return on investment. But I would just like to see us waive the fees that we're asking Mitchell Main Street for their ongoing events that we have.
The only point I need to make is, council, you told us we can't waive fees anymore.
Yeah, I would like to
you
include
need to
them.
incorporate
I
it
would
if
like
you're going to
to
do that.
include whatever that dollar amount is. You said 8,000, but you want to.
Well, that was in 2024. So this
Right.
year is only about.
Is that the reason you went up to 55?
Well, yes, it was up to 55, so that if we had to pay those fees, it would be able to cover the city fees that we pay back with hopefully some more road closures in there for other events.
Yeah.
And also trying to get some bigger bands. We try to hire local bands, and we're paying local entertainment and supplies from small business owners. So that 55 is not just, they're trying to do more events. It's trying to do bigger, better events as well. We keep getting asked, why don't we bring in bigger bands for First Fridays?
Can you clarify again what your total fees were you paid in 25 city fees?
$38.50.
Okay.
She sent me a copy of the thing that was $38.50.
I can actually pull up just one moment.
I think you added it up.
Yes, ma'am, I did. Just gotta find the text. It was $3,850.58 that we paid in city fees. That's including the tax from the invoices.
So, are you saying, including the First Fridays, it would be closer to 8,000? Is that what you're saying?
If we had to pay for them individually each time. But
Okay, so let's just
done that, right? We've
Right.
paid for
In the
one
pa-
group
yep.
fee.
We've
So we're
always
just
done First
saying the
Fridays as one
45,000
fee.
plus the additional 38.50.58.
Yes, and that's if we don't grow any other future road closures, anything. That is just our current operating events that we currently do. So yes, ma'am.
So, other than those semantics, I have a feeling you have a motion to make based on those numbers.
Yes.
And what would that number be?
You want to just make
That
it even
number,
50?
yeah, huh?
Even 50?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
I'll second.
50.
She did request 55. I just want everyone to be aware of that.
I'd love to have it be 55. I told her that this morning. I'd love it to be 55, but
You are the keeper of the purse.
We got a
in the words
motion
of
by Susan, second by Jeff for 50,000. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Against, nay. Motion passes for 50,000.
Thank you all.
Next, Safe Place is asking.
The request was actually for 15,000, and last year was 20. So I'm going to make a motion for 15,000.
second.
A motion by Jeff for 15, second by Susan. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
15 it is. Salvation Army.
Do we have anyone from the Salvation Army in the audience?
Okay. We'll leave them at 0. Last but not least, CVB for $262.50 or $500.
I'm guessing you have a presentation ready? You had a great one last year.
Awesome. Full of points, yes.
Is there?
Answer questions or give a little talk, however you want me to do it.
Do we have any questions for Joanna? Maybe nobody wants to hear you.
That's okay too.
I have one quick question.
Okay,
for you,
yeah.
Joe. So, I called you Joe. How many conventions did you guys bring to Mitchell this year?
Well, conventions, a lot of that has to do with the SEA, and SEA is a part of the city now. It used to be the CBB, but actually Convention and Visitors Bureau is a little bit of an outdated name. Most of them are called destination marketing organizations. I don't have that number on hand. I know there was quite a few conventions that we helped out with, whether that be sponsoring a coffee break or providing like visitor bags. I don't have a number for specific conventions. Yes, we do.
I was asked by someone, correct if I'm wrong, we own the convention center, the taxpayer.
Correct.
And we pay you guys in your name, it's Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I was just curious, and they said, when I researched the little bit I did, that you guys have not had them. So that's why I'm asking.
I mean, I there's been a lot of conventions in town that we help with. Yeah, I don't have an exact number.
Technically, I think that property is on like a 99-year lease. I could pull it up if you wanted, but.
I would say that's stated in, well, first off, my name's Johanna. I'm with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and Chamber. I would say that our main goal is to bring in hotel stays and up the entertainment tax for the city. So that's where you guys are going to see your return on investment is that entertainment tax. And I just was looking at numbers today to give you guys, I know I provided some numbers in my application, but I want to provide the most updated numbers. For 2025, our hotel occupancy is up 5.2% compared to 2024. And the third penny sales tax, which is that entertainment tax, is up 11.52% for 2025 compared to 2024. So we are bringing money in. We are bringing visitors. The best way to judge it is by hotel occupancy, because we can say without a doubt those are people visiting our community. And so, across the state, we're seeing a little bit of that visitor spending that's down. So it's really encouraging to see that Mitchell's kind of almost a little bit insulated from that dip, and that we are seeing those increases in hotel occupancy.
Joanna, this is kind of a dumb question maybe, but don't you feel like the soybean plant direct correlates with those numbers? And we're probably going to see, from what I remember you talking about in meetings, the tourism number is going to come down. We know we've lost 400 workers from the soybean plant. Do you not see those numbers tailing back?
Like for hotel occupancy?
Yes.
No, not really. I think every single year we've seen them steadily increase. So I think, we might have some hotel, stays down from the soybean plant, but then we have a huge conference that we're, planning. So we have really innovative ways that we can insulate that.
I also feel like as we work with having maybe some occupancies that are currently used by the soybean plant, I have several friends who have visited Mitchell over the last few months who have chosen to stay in other communities because of the fact that there was a lack of rental available. And so I think that there's people looking for hotels on travel as they travel through the city that currently can't find them. So I think that those openings will be filled as well.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to bring up one more thing if I could. And I did visit with the mayor a little bit about this. Can you bring up just any application, Stephanie? I don't care which one it is. Just grab one.
Not that one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
free. I don't know.
There we go. Will you go down to where the questions are at the end? And the one I'm specifically looking at is the one with political, that they cannot support anything, either political person or anything. What number is that?
By checking this box, I acknowledge if more than 50% of my organization's annual income comes from the city, I cannot financially support candidates or ballot issues.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in my mind, it would be very difficult for us to police this. And then second of all, I know there's organizations that we've leaned on in the past, and one that would have been detrimental to us is the IM-28 with the grocery tax. We as a group could not support one way or the other, but we did have across the street that they took and ran with it, and we were one of the highest percentages of a no vote on there, in which literally you switched it from a 70 yes to a 77% no. And without that support, there's no way that we would have been able to pull that thing off. That's just one example. But in my mind, and I don't know if there's going to be any support of this, but I would like to strike that question from every application.
So
that motion.
I added that specifically because of IM-28, because people were very frustrated that their tax dollars were used to lobby the government to keep their taxes at a high level, whether you agree with that or not. But now you tax me and you spent my money to make sure you can keep taxing me.
Yeah, and
that's where it comes from. Also, candidates, what's to stop any of these guys from running for your spot next time or advocating for anything? There's nothing to stop them, especially with local. I think local is one thing that we should not get away from. So I'm pretty firm on that, because I personally don't believe tax dollars should be spent on election swaying, however you want to say that.
Well, in my mind, it's getting the information out so the individuals can have an informed vote. That's the way I'm looking at it. And let's face it, there's some people. We've got some directors and workers from the Development Corp here. There is a push to have TIFs eliminated from the state of South Dakota. That isn't going to do well with development corporations. And of course, we have had a lot of TIFs over the years and had a lot of increase in tax base as a result of it. So in my mind is, if you got somebody that is in our district that isn't supporting it, I would hope that the development corporation would be in favor of working with somebody that would help them out.
But who's representing the other side of whatever ballot issue?
Anybody that wants to. There's a no and a yes on everything.
But if, let's just say, we give the development corporation or whatever, they want to go yes, but the community wants a no, then
they can vote no. Get the facts out there.
I think the key operating phrase is that we're disseminating the information so that the voters can make an educated decision. Because I can guarantee you that there are people out there, some of them from out of state, that are lobbying and sending information into our community. And I think it is part of our responsibility to make sure that our citizens are educated, and then they go to the ballot box and they vote. But I think I think to tie the hands of these organizations that are disseminating truth and disseminating facts and
how do you know if it's truth or facts? We don't have any sort of, maybe it has been in the past, but you don't know that in the future. Remember, you said in the future there's always going to be a different set of people at this table. That's what scares me. I mean, I think getting tax dollars involved in elections is unethical.
So did you make a motion, Jeff?
Yeah, I made a motion to strike that in every application.
Who makes the application, Stephanie, real quick?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Who gets to create this application?
I believe in a council meeting, council told
me to make the direction.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go with it. I mean, Mayor Hansen gave us the opportunity to help him. We chose not to help him. Not all of us. And I look back to the lake vote, how close it was. And I know I've talked to Johanna about this a little bit, how they did pay for a sign in favor of the lake. And there's, it only passed by 30 people. Did they influence the election? Absolutely. I don't know that, but I'm just saying, did they influence the election? Is that really what we should be doing with our tax dollars? I would be willing. I totally get the IM28 deal. It wouldn't. It may have passed, but we showed that we didn't want it. I actually looked at this and I'm like, maybe we should just make it local elections because it's local funding going to this. And I don't know if you guys would consider that or not, but we did ask Mayor Hansen to do this.
What's your verbiage then?
Local, it'd be local. You just add local. So if it's state and federal, whatever. But local, to me, that would be like the uncompromised. Like, because there's nothing stopping any nonprofit from going and spending their entire budget to make sure this council stays the same, to make sure they get funded every year. And that is exactly what we should stop with the checks and balances. Without that, we have no checks and balances.
That's right.
And we've never had an issue, I don't believe, in the past, as far as I'm concerned.
This table changes every year. Or every couple of years, I should say. To me, it seems extremely irresponsible to use taxpayer dollars to fund elections.
So we got a motion by Jeff, a second by Susan. Any more discussion?
Yes. So, Steph or Justin, can they override the mayor's application?
You're talking about in future years?
Right here now.
These forms are already completed. I think these ones would be effective the way that they are. I think when you're talking about future years, the council can certainly provide the guidance.
What I'm saying is we need to follow his application he gave us to follow.
You're talking about the ones that we have in front of us right now?
Correct.
Yeah, I think with the ones that we have in front of us right now, they've been approved based on the conditions that council provided before, based on the authority that were provided before, and they've been completed in that form.
What if they weren't completed?
I'm sorry, may I have to repeat that?
What if they weren't completed?
If they were not completed?
Mm-hmm. Are they automatically disqualified?
So I think there's a point to keep in mind here. The applications are used as a planning tool for you when you're looking at the budget. Ultimately, the end budget is council's budget. The mayor proposes, council approves. So how you approve that budget could be technically different than it's proposed, and then the mayor has the right to veto any individual item out of a budget. So
checks and balances.
I don't think that the mayor can require council to follow something that was in the proposed budget, because it's council's budget to ultimately, and I mean, they could approve subsidies at 100% and say, we don't want any reporting back.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Luritz signed that application agreeing to all those.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, he was the only one that didn't check all of them.
What's that?
He didn't check. No, the development corp didn't check all those boxes. He did not.
Because council never technically approved the format of the subsidy application. They
Correct.
just gave direction to the mayor to provide or to prepare it, right? I mean, however you
that's what I
wanted to
did.
do.
Correct.
Yeah, ultimately, it's still a council decision on the funding itself. So if somebody did not complete the entire form, it's still council's decision on whether they want to provide that funding or not.
I read every one of these. There's a lot. I didn't even grab them all. There's like
I
700
wasn't
pages.
trying to make it muddier. I was just trying to make sure that we're distinguishing. There's two processes that we're going through, really.
So jumping over to a different thing. Sorry, Tim. So jumping over to a different thing. I think if I'm getting you right, Justin, these applications are what they are, as stated. Next year applications, obviously, the mayor presents the budget. He'll do his applications. However, these applications, before we probably send them out, the mayor would submit his application to the council for approval or changes.
You guys said, do whatever I want. That's what I did.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with what we did in the past.
Yeah, we talked about goals. We talked about goals, and that was understood.
No. Yeah, establishing goals. And I said, well, what should I do? And you said, you do whatever you want. And I specifically remember that.
And
it was Marty that had said that. Yeah.
I think I think as you think about checks and balances, it would be really difficult to distinguish a person who works at any entity that gets a subsidy from like disallowing them from a political banter. Seems like it's
That's why I put more than 50%. In my eyes, if you're more than 50% of your money, you're essentially a government entity at that point. That's why I chose 50%. I mean, then you're more than all of your funding comes from this board, which is advantageous for you to do what this board wants in order to keep your funding, which is just a cycle. So if you guys think that's okay, then you guys just go ahead and do that.
We still better go with your motion?
Well, it'll have to be for next
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's up to you whether you want to provide that guidance now or if you want to wait until next year rolls around.
Review
we don't need
the
to
application, before it's submitted next year.
Yeah, we don't have to do that now. Okay. Anything else?
Just to clear up the record, should we treat that as a withdrawal of the motion?
Yes. I will withdraw that motion, Mr. President.
All right, we'll withdraw the motion. We're done with subsidies.
We haven't done safe place.
Oh, we did that.
You did. Okay. I thought you gave me a scared look, and I was like, "Oh, didn't do that."
No.
It wasn't a scared look.
Casa was number 2. Casa was second. We did alphabetical.
We were right down the
in
list.
the order, right down the list.
Sorry about that.
They're all done.
Yeah, everything's finished.
Okay.
Yeah, so what's the total we're gonna have to make up for in the budget?
So the cost impact to the general fund so far is $108,388
And entertainment taxes.
from subsidies and entertainment.
Entertainment,
taxes
it's its own separate thing, yeah.
108.
$108,388. It'd be right here in the middle. That's the general fund budget impact.
Okay.
And I want to say one thing real quick about subsidies. My initial response is to cut everything to 0, but I knew there was no way that would ever happen. But the reason I say that is because everywhere I go, everyone says, not everyone, I got to quit generalizing. Many people say, number one goal we want to do is keep young families and young kids in here. So I thought we should eliminate these and put a splash park that would be free for families to use, which I think would keep a lot of our young families in town. I thought that would have been a really good addition to our community that was long-term and free for families to keep people here. And that's how I look at stuff, is not that they get the money, but what are the taxpayers missing out on? So I just want you guys to think about that.
I also received some feedback from the council on things they wanted to add and cut, and I sent a list to Stephanie. Do we want to go over those real quick?
I just got this, so it's just in a Word document. If that's okay, just copy it over from my email. Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. So I'll have to probably go back and forth between the two.
Yeah, there was 9 items that were, I'll wait for the mayor to get back, but there was 9 items that people requested. Not everybody, but those are just different ones that different people sent in. So I just threw them all on a page.
Maybe while you're waiting for the mayor to come back, I'll just point out where you are so far with your discussions from the last couple weeks or the last couple meetings. So I've got, we had $90,000 reduced on those items. I'll have to go back up and look where that came from. The Hitchcock parking lot that you reduced. And then you had removed these 3 items from the budget. So that's another 110. So that's down 200,000. With the subsidy ads, you're at 108. This, I would like council to clarify tonight which level we're budgeting at, but that's an add of 715,145. And then we had the additional revenue of 102,506. So right now you're short 521,027. 521,000. And that's what I had down, unless anyone has any differently. And now here's the email list.
And that wasn't from everybody. It was just ones that people sent me that were. So I just put them all in one document there. But the first one, if you look at your council work session review items, and it's number 69, Monroe Park ice rink. A lot of people sent back on that because temperatures in the recent years don't indicate that we'll be able to have an ice skating rink for a week or two until temperatures fluctuate so much. But that's only
The entire lake freezes over for several months. I think we could flood a park.
The problem, though, I think with the ice rink is that every time it thaws,
Yeah.
you have to go back out there and add more water and continue that process over and over again. Like, historically, that's why they went away from it, was because, and I grew up next to a park that had an ice rink outdoors.
So did I.
And it never, the number of times that I went out there thinking that the ice was frozen, stepped into it, and then fell on my face is more than I would care to share here, but it's at least more than both hands can count.
Okay, it's just one of the many things. Everything that looks like on that list you cut were all the top things people from the public had messaged me. So
we're talking about cutting that, not doing.
Cutting it.
Okay.
Are we doing motions on these ones too, or do I just
We-
list it at 0?
yeah, let's do motions. Let's do roll calls.
Okay.
So Tim, are you saying that you think we should leave it?
Tim says he doesn't want anyone else to fall down outside.
I mean, I would rather see, if we're going to invest in an outdoor rink, it be more permanent than trying to fill a hole with water. And I don't think $4,000 is going to get nearly close to that. So in future capital improvements, I would like to see that, but not, I think that this is going to end up being a waste of money.
We'll just do a roll call real quick.
Savers. I need to know what we're is it our
Voting to cut.
voting to cut? Okay.
We're doing just the ice rink, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Savers,
Vote to cut. Aye.
Goldhammer,
Aye.
Dosher, McCardle,
Aye.
Barrington, Bathke, Charts,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
I don't have a list of that, so. How do you know what the carpet and dorm?
That would be replacing the carpet that's in the dormitory for the fire. In the fire dorm at the public
Looks like
safety
Shannon
building.
wants to come up and
Oh, there you
talk
go.
about carpet. You could have took our old
I guess
carpet
there's
from in
other
here.
people in
You
the
should have let us know.
Mayor Council, Shannon Sandoval, Chief of Fire EMS. Would you like to walk through the dorms?
They got a new kitchen. Oh, it's pretty nice now.
It's not that bad. I do not know when that was installed. It is green in color and black in other places. So I don't know what we had. I'm stepping into this, obviously, after the budget was proposed. So where am I?
5,000 bucks.
It's number 74. And
Yeah.
budgeted at $5,000. And they've been working on doing improvements in that dorm area for the last several years. So I think this was just another improvement in that long list of items.
Yeah, correct.
We've done window replacements. We just did a kitchen remodeling this year. They've done some painting and other improvements as well.
And all the kitchen project was done by all of our folks.
You know.
Volunteered their time. Yep. So none of that. Although we did the floor that we hired out.
We purchased the equipment. For
Correct.
Kitchen install.
But we did that install, and no different here. We would not lay the carpet, but we would move out all the beds that are in there. Obviously, come the first of the year, we will have 6 new employees, so we'll be adding a few beds in there as well. But yeah, it looks a little rough. So anybody who wants to come walk down, please do.
So is that the best material for the room?
We've had discussions about even bringing it to the concrete and redoing it that way. The carpet going up the stairs in the dorm room, it does get beat up. Unfortunately, I don't know what another good alternative would be, to be honest with you. Without making the dorm feel like a little industrial complex, the carpet seems to be. It would probably be very similar to what we're standing on right now.
Okay.
How big of an area are you talking about? I just heard stairs included.
No, this would just be the dorm room. So just the stairs. That's a project for another time.
It's about 2/3 the size of this room, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. Of all the male employees that we have in there, so there's 26 beds. There's probably a little bit less than that. We do have some bunk beds, but 50 by 15. I'm eyeballing that.
And have you gotten bids for this? Is that how you came up with 5,000 or?
I do not know.
So I just have to point out that budget was submitted under the former fire chief, so
Yes.
Shannon probably wouldn't have access to that. I do think that they got an estimate of some sort for the dollar amount.
I'd like to see us leave it in at the 5,000. I mean, you got to have a good place for these guys to put their feet down at night. So I'd like to see us leave that in.
And any more, we are in there much less. So
It'll last a lot.
Yeah.
So who wanted to cut it?
We want you in there.
I appreciate that.
It was just on the list.
Yeah, that was just something that even when I talked to the previous fire chief, I never got a chance to talk to you about this. He thought that it wasn't necessarily something that had to be done this year, but in the future years. And so if we're looking for ways to cut funds out of the budget to try and make up for the shortfall we're at, which was 521, I thought pennies don't equal dimes, but it gets you there eventually.
No, good comments, Tim. And so what I will say, the carpet is not. There's not holes. I mean, it's not kinked or anything, but it is stained and aged with foot traffic. So if we did move forward with a cut, then I would put it forward again next year.
How often do you guys have the carpet cleaned up there? I mean, have you had that done recently?
So every night it gets vacuumed. Every weekend we'll come through and throw some conditioner on it. The last time it was professionally cleaned, I couldn't tell you, Susan.
Well, I think we had it done when you guys had the flooding in the dorms.
Oh.
If there was any flooding in that area, it would have been cleaned then.
Flooding was from a dehumidifier.
Was what?
From a dehumidifier that had failed.
And the windows.
I don't know when that was. I don't remember.
So you probably wouldn't have guessed that you hear this, but I'm going to agree with Susan that we really need to take care of these people because they take care of us.
Correct.
And if it's,
They're our heroes.
yeah. And I mean, if it's carpet, for $5,000, I'm listening.
I will say we
And
have
if it's
cut
less, it's less.
carpet and flooring out of City Hall for the last 10 years. So sometimes it's just the lowest priority item. So,
Sure.
and when I did talk to the previous chief, also, this was a nice to have, not a need to have.
Okay, let's take a roll call in favor of keeping the 5,000.
Oh, no.
Will it max at 5,000 or will we come back and say, oh man, yeah, you approved 5,000, but it's more like 9.
Do you know what we did this room for?
I was just going to ask.
I feel like it was like 5,000.
It was right about that.
Right about 5,000.
I think it was a little under, actually.
I feel like.
But our staff did the removals.
Well, your staff will do the removal.
Yes, we would. If that would help affect the cost, we'd absolutely.
They don't have
do
this
the
gigantic desk to move, so it might be a little bit easier.
We're going to be moving beds anyway, so it would be easy to do at the same time.
Okay. Do the roll call.
To a limit of 5,000?
No, to add it, to leave it.
to leave it at,
Leave it at-
limit of
to leave it at
5,000, Kevin,
5,000.
or to have new carpet done?
No, to leave it at 5,000.
So yes is new carpet.
Yeah, yes is new carpet.
Okay.
For 5,000. That's what they asked for.
Dosher,
Aye.
McCardle,
Aye.
Barrington,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Charts,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Savers, Goldammer.
Keep it right there, baby.
Thank you.
You bet.
Next one is item 95, shade structure at Hitchcock and Kibbe Park for 8,000 to take out.
I'll speak to this one again. I looked at that list and I was like, did he just forward my email to Stephanie? When I looked at this, I thought that as we incorporate new park structures, it would be good for us to look at just picking out structures that had shade structures already built into them.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And, so I talked to the person that sells all of our playground equipment, but like some of our biggest parks have the newest stuff. Like that's a lot of little kids' butts that are going to get burned over the next long time, I'll tell you the story that made me think of this. It was a very hot day in, I don't know, August or July, and I took my kid to Hitchcock Park, and the pool hadn't opened because the pool doesn't open at 1. And we were going to go down the slide, and it was so hot she couldn't do it. And then I look over to the other picnic table, and there had to have been 60, 70 people underneath there with kids. And it's like, so there's no kids using our $150,000 slides, and they're all just waiting under the park. So to me, that's very important to make sure kids get exercise.
So is this something that we'll be putting up, taking down, or it's going to be permanent?
So it's like essentially what it is it's just a concrete tube that goes up, or concrete and then metal tube that goes up, and then it's just a large shade structure like you
they
would
have at
see.
the baseball diamond.
Yep, and it wouldn't be that big. There'd just be a couple of them.
Several years ago, Marty will remember this. We added the shade structures out at Cadwell at the softball diamonds, and I don't know if there's a single thing that I have gotten more compliments on that because of, I'm in favor of keeping this. I think it's a good idea, and we probably need more.
And I guess I'm okay with keeping it too. I just, as we go to build these structures, I would like that to be a part of what we're thinking about
Priority,
as far
Kevin.
as those projects go. So we're not always going back after we just finished a park.
The other.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's much cheaper to do it that way because they can then just add it on to what's already there.
Kevin, how much labor is there putting up and taking down these structures, the shades, and how long do they last? And are these the same quality as the softball?
They can be. The fabric type that are out there at Cadwell, I think we've replaced one due to a windstorm. And at the pool, there's only one that's still remaining that was of the old original ones, and that wasn't able to go up this year. So they last 15, 20 years.
I think his question is how hard is it to take them down every year?
If they're the solid type that stay up, not made of fabric, they are permanent. If they're fabric that goes up with a boom truck or a scissors lift, they could take a little bit, but it depends upon where they're located on the playground. I assume it's going to take the boom truck because they're above a soft surface.
A good example, when you drive by the pool, you'll see them off now. So they're taking those up and down every year.
So do we want to do a roll call to leave them in the budget?
Barrington,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Charts,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Savers,
Aye.
Goldammer,
Aye.
Dosher,
Aye.
McCardle.
Aye. Okay, next one is number 96, event power at Hitchcock Park for 8,500.
I'll speak to this. So this is, I don't want to say somewhat selfish, but we don't have enough power at Hitchcock and for Arts in the Park and for other events, and it is extremely difficult for us to do this. One thing we had kicked around was the Arts in the Park nonprofit just paying for it, so maybe I'll come back next year for a subsidy. Just kidding.
Somebody asked me a question. What do they charge? What's Arts in the Park charge for an entry?
It's like what, $30 per person, so almost nothing. I mean,
What if we
Brookings.
upped it to 50? I mean, that'd still be almost nothing.
Yeah, it's like we want to get the most amount of vendors to get the most amount of people. So it's one of those things where like Brookings charges hundreds of dollars. I would hate to price vendors out of the show, which would just ruin it. We're trying to keep it a free event, so it's a tough balance.
And so a lot of these items weren't necessarily to get rid of, but for this specific item, one of my thoughts were if we're going to increase the cost, and is there a rent increase that we could associate with covering that over 10 years? And so I imagine that's not very much. But if we're saying that this is because a group is renting the park and they need more power, that as a part of that, could we look at what would repayment look like after 10 years and increasing the fee to rent out those things? Because like what we built on Main Street, they're locked when they're not in use. And so a person has to rent them in order to get access to them. And so if we could increase that fee to cover that cost, I think that would be good.
I should also add at the bottom of this other cut list, a lot of that power was to juice up the lights that would go through the center of it too. So it's kind of a two-part deal. So not completely selfish. Again, it starts in the park, everyone. It comes to that.
Because when we go to RV shows, we pay extra for more power is what we do. I mean, it's an extra, I don't know, $100 or $50 or whatever it is, but
Yeah, when I do a home show, it's the same thing. If you have a booth, then it's this much. If you need power, then it's an added fee.
And I think just getting it started, I think we can move into that. I think that was your point. And your point is let's keep it as reasonable as possible. Get it built up. Get some more name recognition, and then maybe we can take a look. But I think having reduced fees to entice more people, more vendors to come, I think is probably good until we get this thing built back up again.
Well, my point wasn't to increase the fee directly to the individual vendors. Your organization could do that, but to increase the fee that we might charge your organization. And then however you decide to.
Tim owns up my park rental. Sorry to put it bluntly.
I've also rented the park, and so yeah, I want out my own rent.
And Tim also volunteered, so yes. Yeah.
I think $50 is cheap for.
It's so cheap. Well, yeah, and so the food vendors do pay more. They pay like double.
But,
they pay like 80, I think, and everyone else pays 30. So they pay $50 per
if
spot.
everybody paid 50, nobody'd complain about $50.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
They pay them.
Yeah, I think you would be surprised because there's a lot of, I don't know how Mayor Hansen lined this all up, but there's a lot of local vendors that may not come for that little bit of money because they don't.
I can't believe how many
sell a
people
lot.
said they wouldn't come for an extra $20.
Yeah, they won't come because they don't sell a lot, to be honest with you. It's more like getting their name out there. Maybe they ordered from them later. I don't know, but I walked around there both days and I just did not see the people stopping. So
last year we had to rent the generator. No. The emergency management let us use their generators, thankfully. It cost us $450 in diesel, which is not good for the environment either. Whatever you decide.
Sounds like we could increase their rent by $450.
what is the rent now, Jordan?
What do we pay? I would have to ask Kevin that, but whatever a park rental fee is, plus 3 days of shelter, plus 3 days of park, plus 3 days of road closure, it was $1,000 plus for just the park.
I will say, being there, I know Mayor Hansen was very involved with it, and the amount of volunteers I seen was crazy.
It was all volunteer.
Yeah, it was just, I knew it was all volunteer, but it was just crazy the amount of people that were picking up garbage and keeping the area presentable because there's a lot of people that came from outside of town. I talked to a lot of them, and it's a good thing for our community. I don't know, we're gonna hopefully discuss tennis courts here. I don't know if this is something that's going to tie into all of that to where we could, for $8,500 or $8,000.
So we want to vote to keep it or get rid of it? Let's make a motion to keep it and see how that goes.
I'll make the motion.
Can I just ask a question? Is it something that we could do in phases, or is it something?
Yeah, that was what I was going to recommend, but Kevin said 100% right away, so I just kept my mouth shut. But
I thought I heard you say something about that.
The first step would be to upgrade the bandstand, which I think they would like if some of the bands, because there's a 100 amp service for the bandstand. There's the other one that's auxiliary, but if we just did the bandstand, that would be a tremendous help.
And what are we looking at for that? Do you know? For that,
right, about 8,400. I'm just kidding. It'd probably be half that or less. A new panel, and maybe it depends if you have to pull wire underground.
I mean, yeah.
So, Mayor, is that where the power all comes into? So that's where they would come out.
No, so between the bandstand and the pool, there's that big rack, and then I think the power comes into there, and then that feeds underground to the.
Okay.
Right, Kevin.
And I mean, I know that the impetus of this is the arts in the park, but it certainly would be something that would be used by any organization
For sure.
that rented the facility, rented the park, the band, concerts, those kinds of things.
And if you guys want to hold off, I can get an estimate, and then we can make this.
We got to
decision.
tell November.
Yeah. So if we want to just table this, yeah, I'll get an estimate for multiple
table this
different
one.
phases.
We have a 3-part quote as far as the prices, but I don't have it along.
Oh, did we?
It's broken down into 3 different phases. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll bring it along next time.
Yeah, send it out to us. Then we can look at it. Next one was car printers. It was number 102.
Just, can I have a clarification? So I'm keeping it in as is, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the car printers, I know I've mentioned to some of you that was, we have quite a few things in the police department this year, and their primary goal is that we need to replace those computers in the docking stations. We have 2 patrol cars and 1 unmarked patrol car. This was more of a thing that Andrew found, and it's more of a nice to have than have to have.
So they really don't need it?
They don't really need
they
it.
need it, but yeah, it's a want more than a need right now. Their needs primarily, like I said, is replacing the cameras, the
And to be
docking
completely
stations with the computers.
and to be completely transparent and truthful, what happened was we were doing the budget, and Stephanie said we have about $9,100 left to throw in the printer. So
that is a true statement.
Yeah. Hey, full transparency. That's what happened.
Yeah. So I agree. These are not a need; they are more of a want. Obviously, the patrol cars are a need for us. What this is we have a lot of guys whose penmanship is terrible, and if you've had the unfortunate to get a ticket from any of the local agencies, other than us, everybody is using these. The clerk of courts loves them because they can read them. The people who get a ticket love them. They can read them.
The people that get a ticket love it.
Well, I mean, just a lot. If right now we use a 2-part carbon ticket, or it's a carbon copy. The carbon copy you can never read. You can't read the original copy sometimes, and it does help. It would help speed things up and be more efficient. But could we do our job? Yes, I will consent to that.
So I was asked why I took it out initially. It was because when we were trying to balance the budget, and like the mayor said, then we had some extras.
That's honestly,
we were able to put it
was
back
the
in.
very last thing we changed to
Right.
the budget.
And quite frankly, the priority for them was the patrol cars and the printers with the docking stations and the cameras.
So Dean, is this for all patrol cars? And if so, how many is there?
This would be for all patrol cars. I actually don't remember the exact number. I think it was 7 of them. And I think it covered the code enforcement vehicle as well, but I'm not positive on that one.
Let's put it in next year.
I will say Andrew really liked it when he had the chance to experience it, I guess.
Do a quick roll call on it.
Hold off for 1 year on this, at least. Okay.
Do a roll call real quick, just to make sure.
I think everyone's in favor of just holding off till next
Holding
year, right?
off till next year?
Quick thumbs down. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Next was 108 was a nursery setup for $10,000.
I guess I didn't know what this was.
So we talked about adding a nursery, so we can plant more trees.
Oh.
Not baby nursery. No, we're not taking care of kids. Okay, that's a tree nursery.
10,000 would be cheap.
So
And Marty-
I was one that was kind of forward for cutting this. A few reasons. Me personally, nursery is a waste of money. You plant them, you got to weed eat them. You have to water them. You have to prune them twice a year. You wait 5 to 8 years to get big enough to burn them out in your parks, and then when you're a 4-inch tree or 3-inch tree, you stunt the growth for 3 to 5 years. I think your money ahead, get an established tree by bare root. Come back with it next year. I'm okay with cutting it and come back with just planting trees, just buying trees instead of planting for the future. You're planting them now, and we're using them water bags. They seem to be effective. All the reports I read on them for us keeping the tree alive. From experience, I think transporting a tree you cut too many roots and it's a waste of money. That's my opinion. But I'd like to just come back next year with putting so much aside and just buying trees.
Any other comments on that?
I guess I don't. I know Dan has more experience in tree maintenance and upkeep than I do, but I would certainly be more in support of just looking at purchasing trees as well. I think that if you have a tree coming in that you know is healthy and sustainable, it seems like it would be better investing and then looking at that over the time period. I don't know, though.
So I'm hearing take it out from 2 people. What's the general consensus of the rest?
Well, I'm going to my wife, she hates when I get around trees because I cut them down. And I get a little crazy when I do it, maybe. But I like the idea of just try it. I don't know if we need to do 10,000. I don't know what was the 10,000 going to buy.
$10,000 worth of trees.
No, shit, sure.
I'm on CSCS office. Didn't you put that tarp down? I didn't do any research on what it costs, but all I know is you almost have to put that tarp down.
So the reason behind it was, well, I used to own a tree company and I cut down a lot of trees, and one interesting thing is, you may know, we've been Tree City, USA for, I don't know, forever, but we actually have a net loss of trees every year with how many we cut down versus how many we plant. So it seems counterintuitive to get Tree City and cut down more trees. I know trees grow in the wild, and that's the way she goes. Owning a tree business, I know that it takes a very long time for a tree to grow, and rather than go and buy, like once you establish your trees, you can plant your own trees going along, and then you never have to buy a tree ever again. You just manicure it and groom it.
I'd be
like a baby nursery.
In your mind, Mayor, who is the person that's running the tree farm?
The Parks Department.
I'd be in favor of cutting them myself.
So just so you know, I don't know what your experience is with trees. I just purchased 9 trees, $3,800. So you get 20 trees for $10,000.
You got potted trees, and you got some size to them, and they're pretty.
They're
nice
6 foot
trees.
tall, 5 to 6.
That's what I'm saying. Trees are insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many trees do you think we plant a year, Kevin? Not nearly enough.
Test. I've got to be a far enough away so this doesn't blur people's ears. Out of that tree grant, we're averaging about $200 to $250 per tree, and they're about an inch and a quarter in diameter. We can get some nice trees for $250. You must have got some very nice trees, Mike.
I bought mine from locally, Menards, Walmart. Wait till they go on sale. I'm kind of a miser. Look at them at $89 on sale. An inch and a quarter trees, potted, 7-gallon pots. So,
I bought these local from Yelker.
yeah.
All right, should we do a roll call?
Yeah, what's the vote? What are we voting
We're going
on?
to vote to take it out.
Take it out?
For 3 no's.
Keep planting trees.
Yeah.
Where are you going to buy them? We can just plant seeds, you mean?
Roll call.
Go.
Okay. Charts? No.
Smith.
Wait. Is that right? I just want to make sure. Vote to remove.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Sorry. It's confusing.
Smith. Savers.
All right. Better explain to me how we're.
I know. This is very
Yes means
confusing. It's a
cut.
double negative.
Just means cut.
Yes.
So I was an I.
You were an I to
Uh-huh.
cut or keep?
I was an I to remove it.
Okay.
Because you've got a double negative. That's why I was kind of confused.
Goldammer.
Aye.
Yeah,
Okay.
cut or keep works for me.
There you go. Remove.
Dosher.
Cut.
McCardle.
Cut.
Barrington.
Cut.
Bathke.
So is everybody but
So
one keep?
Yeah.
I like the cut keep. I like the.
For a hacksaw, you didn't sound like you were.
Next, we'll go to 113. Wedding agent due to Lake Irrigation for $11,000.
I think this is yours, Kevin, right?
I think somebody's.
This is so because we have zebra mussels in our irrigation for the golf, right? Is that what this is for?
I thought this was a.
No.
I thought this
This
was a part of the
is, you
lake.
added because the lake was going to be drawn down.
Yeah, and somebody said the lake wasn't going to be drawn down, so why should we put.
Wetting agent would be to treat the turf so that it wouldn't require as much water to keep it healthy. So we would not need the wetting agent during a year where we're still irrigating from the lake.
Okay, so easy.
So it's
Okay.
gone. 113.
So I thought no matter what we were irrigating from the lake, we talked about extending the pipes out to get to the water.
He was, but it was in case there wasn't sufficient water that they normally use daily.
Yeah. Since we're gonna have sufficient water, we don't need it.
Next is 122, running chase lights for 25,000.
Okay, this one's pretty easy for me. Gosh, I should have had a picture ready. So I went to the Shrine Circus, and every football or basketball, or I should say basketball game you get, essentially it's the lights that go like this. They're called chaser lights that shoot everything. So when there's a basketball game or an event in there, light shows make half the fun.
When do they use them?
They don't. We don't have them. But if you go to at basketball games, like during the start or like halftime or
DW uses them. Don't they dim the lights and do something?
They all they use is one spotlight. These are it'd be 8 colored lights that can go and do.
Love it.
Any concert you ever see, I mean basketball games.
Absolutely love it.
I knew you loved it.
We keep it in.
You know, I remember Marty saying that his goal was to make sure that the lights of the Corn Palace could be seen from I-90, right? This is going to
still stand behind that.
There you go.
Fell short a little bit.
Just type. Hey, can you? Unless anyone has any questions, what they look like, just go to YouTube and type in chaser lights, and you'd see all over them. It looks awesome.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is something that you said personally you were going to install.
I will personally install these if I have to.
So how did it go from 25 to 15? You were first proposing more or more expensive?
You reduced it.
I think I reduced it because I was going to be. Yeah, well, I was going to try to give the printers to the police, but no. I think it was like rather than someone else do it, I would just do it myself. I've got a background in doing stuff like this.
We can get something nice. This won't be
Well, the cool thing is you could get something established, and then it's called the DMX and XLR cables. You could always add on to it if you wanted to, and it's an ever expanding system, so it's super simple.
So this will be step one of several to come. This will just get it started.
Yes.
Well, it's something fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of my
Type in concert too. Chaser Lights concert.
So we're going to go 15.
Okay, never mind.
As we go to do this, can we just make sure that we're involving I thought maybe I missed a meeting where we talked about this at the Corn Palace board, but I don't think it was ever brought up. And so just make sure that as we include that board, so that way they can work with their entities that are a part of that. And I should have reached out to you. I apologize, I did not. So
we both forgot.
This board makes a decision.
Okay. So there's nobody we're just going to leave it in, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they said.
I couldn't find it.
What?
The YouTube.
Oh, go to YouTube. Just type in Chaser Lights Arena.
Did you not see how
Well, and if you go to any arena when they shut the lights off,
Or any concert, yeah. Just type in Chaser Lights Arena.
you can see it on TV.
I mean, everyone.
Let's see if I can do it this time.
Right there, the third one, the blue light. No, down. Those are advertisements. Third one, right there. Be just like this, multicolored, everything. You mount them right to the roof. We already have all the.
Don't ask me to do anything. I just
Anyway,
all right.
All the mounting hardware's there. Simple stuff. Yeah, look at that. Tell me that would make a DW basketball game. Your style, Marty.
Okay.
That's Fortune Marin. This.
Last one is number 201, Hitchcock lighting for 326,000.
I'll speak to this one again too. I like Hitchcock Park. It's our flagship park. It's over 30 acres, and we get a lot of vandalism there. I think Kevin would agree that they get rid of a lot of spray paint in that area.
I will say that having lights all the way through Dry Run Creek along that entire trail is awesome to have. I don't know how many people currently walk Hitchcock after dark. I don't know that I would.
Yeah.
We did get a quote from a local electrician, I believe it was a year ago, on what it would cost to install, and we built on that with engineering costs and the like. So this would be in the ballpark of what it would cost to install lights there and the perimeter of the pool fence, because that fence isn't really particularly tall, and I think some people have gotten in the habit of when the tennis lights go off, they know it's free swimming.
Yep, exactly.
So 11 o'clock at night, some things don't always go as they should out there.
I think that happened back in the 70s too.
I would have never done that.
I think that happened back in the 70s too. People went over the fence and went swimming. I'm not saying any names, but I think some people did that.
So Kevin, tell us, like, Marty and I were talking. Is this like you're following the road, or are we going to go out and randomly and put them? Or are we following
the roads and the perimeter of the pool fence.
Okay.
This one I had a lot of people type this one in that they wanted to remove it, so that's why I put it on there.
I don't drive over by Hitchcock much at night. You're not supposed to be in. It's a law. So this is around the pool lit up at night right now, in the inside or in the outside, or just right down is dark?
It's dark.
100% dark.
When the tennis lights are on, there's the lights, but that goes off at what, 10, 11?
11.
So just for discussion purposes, so obviously you're looking at the proposal of around the pool and also the roadway, let's call it, through the park. Was that number of it, was it broke up at all? I mean, could it be a phase project again, just bringing up for council discussion for consideration? Would it be something that
Yeah, it was
do it around pool where we need to protect and people aren't swimming at night and possibly the roadway later? I'm just bringing up for
Doesn't the park close at 11?
It does.
Legally?
It
yeah, but
does.
it gets dark. What's it get dark right now? 8?
But I will also note that I walk at Dry Run Creek in the morning before the park officially opens, and they got to have the lights on. Or in the winter months, if I walk out there at 6 o'clock at night, it's already dark, and you got to have the lights on. So I know there's people that walk their dog out there at night or over to the park. Whether or not they walk the perimeter, I don't know that.
But to answer your question, we did get 2 separate bids. I think it was like 180 for the through the street, and then Kevin got an additional and then added engineering, right? I think it's about 100 for the pool and 180 for the center, and then you added engineering and all that.
Correct. Like be in that ballpark.
I like the idea of lighting it up because Mr. Knipling and I had a good discussion this summer. We had a gentleman living there in the park and doing some inappropriate things around the kids. So I like to keep it lit up so that they don't go in there and sleep.
Do we lock up the restrooms at night?
No.
And vandalism's big. I don't know if lights will stop it, but usually people don't commit.
I think a lot of those homeless people sleep down by the railroad tracks anyway. They're going to be there. Down off of Foster and between 38 and...
I feel like this is just me thinking out loud, but I just feel like the lights seem like an invitation. If we're closing the park at 11 and we have all the lights on, it feels like, just kidding, come on in. The lights are on and come and hang out. I don't know. I don't know that it's necessary for me personally, but I'm not a person who goes to the park late at night either. So.
The way I look at this one is it's kind of a want versus an absolute need, especially to the tune of $300,000. If we could phase it in, maybe might make sense, or do some other things to secure the areas. But just to say that we spend $336,000, that's going to solve our problem.
Yeah.
It may not.
I'm thinking about the guy that was living there, and I'm thinking, that's, to me, let's get rid of the guy that's living there and doing inappropriate things around the kids. I mean, let's tell him that he's no longer allowed in the park and ban him from the park instead of turning on the lights for him.
Okay, I forgot one added bonus. The quote we had for this was also to add outlets to them. And then during the winter, you could plug in Christmas trees and then decorate Christmas trees and then shut those lights off so then you could drive through and be like a winter wonderland. But I don't know who would set that up. I'm just saying that would be one of the options.
Could you bring back if you have a quote, what that looks like for us at our next council meeting so that way we can make an informed decision?
Yes.
And just to make sure I have the note right, you're wanting to see the quote of breaking out the two costs?
Whatever phases they have available,
okay.
Yes.
Is the plaza lit up at night?
So those are on timers, I believe, and they turn, right, Dave? Yeah, so they come on and off on a either scheduled time or are they with the eye? Dusk to dawn.
And the Corn Palace lights are on all the time?
No, they do shut off.
They also shut off? Okay.
We don't leave lights on all night.
Okay.
That completes the list.
And I talked to a few people on if we needed money, if we don't have money to cover the budget. We had $1.2 million of debt payment for the lake project that we're not going to use this year. So that can, if whatever we're over on spending, we're not going to use that money. So let's use it for this, is what the general consensus was.
Yeah, I had brought that up at your last meeting that we now know the lake isn't going to be drawn down in 2026. We had budgeted the debt service payment because we also increased revenue to be closer to where sales tax is. But we know for certain you're not going to need that debt service payment in 2026.
So the money's there.
Are we talking about the fire station?
No,
Well, I would like to talk about the fire station.
I would also like to talk about the fire station.
Let's all talk about the fire station.
And you also left me on, we'll talk about that next time with the golf course. I want to point that out. And then the other thing that we said we would talk about more is on the Ullman Street. Right now, I have it plugged in that we're funding the assessment, or we're funding the sidewalk, but I need direction from council on that as well.
Yeah, after some of the comments I made at the last meeting of maybe phasing, I have changed my mind. I really think that this is a project that people would benefit out there, and I've talked to a few individuals in our ward, and they're fully in favor of this, and I like the plan, and I'd like to see it designed, and then yes,
The fire station.
Yep, the fire station. Yep. So, in other words, I would like to move forward with the money that we've got identified with the lake, and then help build our fire station next year.
So, two things to point out. So currently where we're at, you need to come up with $700,000, and that includes, so if you add the lake in, or if you add the fire station in, you would have to come up with $1.7 million. One thing I was going to suggest to council, just because I know that this has been on the council goal list from 2015. So I have been carrying this forward for every year as a future item, which you guys gave us more of a push to get this done in the last year. We do know sales tax is going to be above budget this year, and I have some charts if you guys want to look at pictures, but I do have charts if you want to see them. I do think you could move forward with what you have now coming out of the future capital projects account, and then when we end the year, when we do our supplements next year, I could take that sales tax revenue that's above budget and apply that towards the fire station, because then it's been a council goal since 2015. It'd be great to see it off the list. And I do understand, Mayor sent this out to everybody. We did print it out on your desk this morning, the
Yeah, I'd like to add real quick.
preliminary design.
I think the fire station is super important for the growth of our city. You know, not necessarily, we were talking about this today, not necessarily the fire side, because fire's like 12% of the total calls. It's EMS. You know, and with an aging population, everyone's always getting older. And then there's also a lot of, you know, senior living facilities and assisted living facilities in that area, in that side of town. And especially since we just passed the EMS district, thanks to the county, a great vote. Like, I would think it would be super irresponsible to say, hey, thanks for, okay, never mind, I'm going to rephrase that because I know the newspaper's here. I think it would be in our best interest to say, hey, thanks for this. We're going to invest in our community, like we said, and we're going to make sure you guys in those two counties that voted to take care of yourselves, we're going to help take care of you by adding another station closer to you in your direction and increase response times.
And I do think it was important when the mayor and I were talking to staff, I think that was today or yesterday, I think it was just today.
Decrease response time.
That when they picked that location at the water treatment center, because there was some discussion about out by the airport, keep in mind that we would be now, instead of having everybody staffed in one station, we'd be splitting those staff between two stations. So we want both stations to be able to respond quickly whether an accident is happening by the interstate or if they're coming to one of the nursing homes. Now, granted, one of them, depending on where that call is coming in, is going to be a faster response than the other, but both of them have to be able to quickly access anywhere in our region.
What I was impressed with when we were talking about fire protection was the increase that homeowners have to pay for their insurance because they are outside of this area, that outside of a certain area coverage.
Yeah, like the north side of the lake.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to affect a lot of people.
And this just the simple response time. I think about Dr. Reinen, who lost his life, and not no one has a crystal ball to know if he would have been saved had someone been able to get to him sooner. But this would be a wonderful tribute to similar situations like his, knowing that this will allow us to get to people faster when they're on that side of the lake.
So I went and did my due diligence and talked about the airport. So I went there with Mayor Hansen Tuesday night, and I would agree it's not. That building is not. But I do question our location based on our circle of coverage. So I would be interested to know if we put it at the spillway, how far out does our coverage go? Are we thinking of growing? And number two, somebody reached out to me that is very involved at the airport and said, if we were to place this closer to the airport, would it possibly get us any funding because it's closer to the airport, or possibly a carrier if we had that?
And I don't know how to answer either of those questions. Well, those guys are looking those up, I guess. I think the core government service is to take care of the population and public safety. So I would really like to see this stayed in and get it done and cross it off the checklist. And the other thing is, Stephanie's made several wonderful graphs here to show how much money we have. The thing is it's not going to affect our reserves, our unobligated reserves, because we set aside a bunch of future capital project money already. So we can take out of that and it will not lower our reserves. We're still going to be far above what our reserve rate should be. This is exactly what we've been saving money for.
So I don't know, Stephanie, if that's an insurance question. As far as the coverage for the people on Daily Drive and whatever, where we're talking.
So to clarify your question, though, you're asking whether it's going to improve response times or how far our coverage area will grow by locating it at the water treatment facility?
Yeah, so my question is, by putting it there, does it only go, I don't know the street numbers out there, but let's say Maui Drive, a half mile north, and we start growing that direction. And then we're in the same situation again, and we have people saying, hey, my insurance strike because you're too far from me. And I realize we'd have to bring them in, but I don't want to build it too close either. And the mayor and I had this discussion about the location because of the new retirement home and all the retirement homes out there. It'd be great for it. It'd be absolutely great for it. But
they're building another one right next, or that's not retirement, right next to Banner.
Can
you pull the distance, Joe, from that location to what Mike was talking about?
I think to answer Mike's question, I would need to get clarification on this. I believe it's 5 road miles that affects the ISO rating. And so and I don't know where that gets us on Maui Drive.
Well, all I know is when we were first looking at a location, it had to be it couldn't be south of the road that goes on the north side of Cadwell Park. We had to be at that road or farther north to make an impact. You could not go any farther south than that. But as long as we were there or as long as we were north of that road, we were going to meet the need that we had to on the west side of town, take any future growth to the north, but still be able to respond in town for those calls that need a response with ambulance.
And this is just a side note, but there was a study done several years ago, another site study, but 23rd seemed to be kind of the area that they had highlighted where would be the best bang for our buck. And I don't know if that was...
Where you're still giving coverage to the north, but you're still having an adequate response time internally as well.
I do like that we're out by the lake because I'm assuming there'll be some sort of water rescue apparatus there, which is great. The other concern I did have just by going to the treatment plant was there's more area there than I thought. But yet, what if we do luck out and able to sell that to somebody, and they need that land? Have we stopped something?
Well, I think the question was asked at the last meeting about whether or not we could grant access through that road, right? Joint access to the treatment.
It's not about access. It's about they may need it to build a structure. I'm not against the fire hall. I'm all in for this fire hall. Let's get it done now. But I just want to make sure we're doing the best location for that fire hall. And that's where I'm leaning on you and you to tell me our response time is this where we're at now. We'd like to get it down to this, and like Mary Ann said, it's more about the fire.
But if we move forward with approving a fire station, we're not exactly approving the site location. Right. So
we're just approving.
We're just approving the dollar amount. Dialogue. That's what I'm trying to get at. We don't need to hash out something we have answers for.
Yep.
They can do it more that, hey, we are ready for a fire station. Is that the best location, for us? You guys start digging into it and you find one on 23rd. I don't know. That's
and
what you guys got to bring back to us. So.
I don't expect Joe to answer the grant application without doing some investigating too. So I think the funding is important, and then we can fill in the other details.
Right. Because I think Mike does have some valid thought of. You never know who would come and buy that big concrete building, but they might say, you know what, we love the building, but we'd love to have a little more land. And sorry, there's not there anymore.
I will just make one comment. The reason why we were looking at this location is because it's property the city already owns. Yep. So you take away that added cost. And then as far as being located closer to the airport, I'm going to tell you that that's going to make the response time in town worse from what I was told. Like if you have a car accident down at the interstate and you have one of our ambulances having to drive from the airport, you want a close response time no matter where they're going.
Yeah, I would keep wanting to say the fact that it's sitting on Highway 37 seems like that's an asset. Yeah.
That's where I would assume or like to see it stay would be on Highway 37, and it would. Agree, I do. Yes. But further north was my concern for the and somebody brought this to me, like I said, that's very involved with the airport, and he's like, at least look into it, and I'm sure Joe will look into it.
Just to add a little context to current fire station, we had 2 years ago, a car burned up on Fiala. Could have gotten to the garage. It took us 8 minutes to get out there. Maybe it's closer to 8.5, which obviously in terms of fire growth is an eternity. So, just a little context to currently and to what the proposed site would be.
This is just me thinking out loud too, is maybe across from the golf course or the cemetery, there's land behind McManage Point. I mean, we'd have to buy it, but it'd be a good location.
Right.
Maybe.
And
of course, we can
I
talk
think
about
when we
location.
talked about those land, the other options too, if I remember right now, this was before Shannon, of course, so sorry. You might have heard those conversations too, but they preferred the Highway 37 versus 23rd Street, because we talked about on Cemetery Road and the difficulty to get out and go around if you have to. That's why they preferred it to be on. Yeah.
That's what I said, put it on the roundabout, but
we do intercept with Woonsocket and agencies north of us on a pretty regular basis, and it's not uncommon to get to the 20-mile corner before we meet anybody. So, I mean, it would add minutes to that if it was, we'll call that further away from Highway 37.
Just to clarify, there was a couple jokes about roundabouts, but fire and EMS vehicles can get around roundabouts with no problem.
Yes.
Joe, what's the distance from that location to the end of Daily Drive or whatever?
So I pulled those real quick. The 5 mile road miles gets you north of 249th Street and just east of 406 on 249. So 249 is roughly
so 249 is 2 miles south of Loomis.
So Stephanie, as Joe's doing that, so once again, the funding mechanism that you are thinking of or recommending, let's just say that, is the current money that we have budgeted at the million I think we are at, right? I remember right?
Yep, it's $1 million out of future capital projects.
And then you're talking about the other money coming at the end of the year based on our
So what I would do is I would bring it as part of your supplemental appropriations in April.
Yes.
Based on the revenue above budget in sales tax for 2025. So it'd be money we received in 2025 above the budget. So we're still structurally balanced and supplementing it to what you're budgeting for 26.
Sure, not a capital reserves out of the end
Yep.
of the year. Got
So
it.
would this be,
That's different. from
Stephanie,
what
would this
else
be a
said.
correct
Capital
statement?
reserves and income for that. Yes.
Future
We
capital
chose
projects.
1.3 million for a golf course over saving people's lives.
No, because the golf course has not been decided yet. That's why I said you guys have to revisit it today.
Right.
I
But
don't
right
have
now,
it in there.
it's in the budget. To
No,
do that.
it's not because you guys told me to revisit it at this meeting. So not yet.
I would think fire station takes priority.
That's what was one of my questions for you guys today.
So what I'd like to see, and you guys do whatever you'd like, obviously, is take it out of the future capital project and then let's just get a big win and commit to it.
Is it going to slow us down at all, Stephanie, with your plan? Or speed it up or be the same?
In my mind, it's the same thing. It's whether you're taking it out of future capital projects now and next year, then you add that sales tax above revenue back
Okay.
into future capital projects. At least if you had it all in the budget to start with, we start planning in January because it's fully funded
Okay.
versus waiting till March.
So
I like
build,
it.
Oh, sure.
bid in 26, build in 27, or
So when we originally visited with Nick, they thought that he could potentially get the design done in 2026 and potentially go to bid at the end of 26. But of course, all of that is dependent on the process they go through for design.
Yeah, ideally it would be you'd get your fall work done so you could work on the inside during the winter.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Joe. And that's being very optimistic. Everything goes the way it's supposed to.
I think I would be okay with moving forward in one phase and looking at repaying out of subsidy the capital budget for future projects.
Whatever it takes to get to say no more dinking around and let's just get the thing done. Whatever that.
So I guess that would be my motion
Right.
is that we're fully funding the project out of future capital improvements in this current year's budget. And then what we do in April is what we do in April. But for this purpose, I would say we fully fund the new fire station.
and we already have the equipment to man this.
Right.
I'll second that.
Good deal.
And you can satisfy
Okay.
the timeline?
Yes.
We don't have the staff yet, but we're in the process of that next year.
But you've done it. Are you allowed to say?
Yeah.
I think
What's that?
did I mention this already. We made 6 offers per.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
So because the EMS levy doesn't kick in until next year, they've started the process of interviews, but we won't be able to go through the final background on those employees until after January 1, because that's where we have the increase in
That's
the psych evals and the physicals and all the other stuff that they have to do.
Yep.
And we do have it planned so that they can bunk in the existing station until a second station was available.
We gotta
So
cut
a
your
motion by
carpet
Tim
budget.
and a second by Jeff. Correct?
That's what I did.
Yeah. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look at big goal accomplished. Doesn't it feel good? Not
Smiling.
accomplished, but
That's awesome.
What did you want, I guess?
I don't have anything else unless you could.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
you want to talk?
Stephanie wants to talk. It looks like.
So I need direction on a couple items. First, we had a presentation on the 23rd in Ullman Roundabout. There were several different options presented, and we've talked about different costs. Right now, when I'm looking at the balance needed, that includes the roundabout and then the city funding the cost of that sidewalk. I want to make sure that's where everybody is before we show that as part of the amount needed to balance.
No, I'm not in favor of that. I think that the private party should pay their 5 foot and we pay the 3 foot.
And is that how we did Norway? You somebody mentioned that.
Norway, we assessed. We paid for the increased width of to make it a bike path, but the adjacent homeowners paid for the normal sidewalk portion.
And then one of the things that I was remembering is that we have not required the homeowner who has a bike path going adjacent to their property to remove the snow.
No, we do the snow removal on the bike paths,
yeah.
right?
Okay, then
we had. I don't know if we would add this one in. I assume.
Yeah. My biggest thing too. We assess everywhere else because I have a hard time not assessing the property owners here. Unless there's a good reason for it.
No, as long as we're doing it the way that you're describing, where they're only paying what they would be paying if it was a standard sidewalk, and then we pay for the extra 5 feet to make it the 8-foot bike path. They pay 3. We pay the 5. Is it
Vice
the other way
versa.
around? Okay, the other way around.
We pay 3. They pay the normal.
Okay.
They pay the
yeah.
normal.
You said what she said.
I'm sticking up for homeowners here. I looked at that bike path, and it wasn't a sidewalk that we did in. I think Joel was right. It was probably a grand. It was way. Well, I went into Stephanie's in 2014, so I was a little off in my ears. That's how long it is, and it's not a sidewalk. So if that road gets done with curb and gutter, do we have to put it up to grade? It's a bike path, and it went from the Lakeview entrance to probably 2 blocks, maybe south. This lot's been sold. The villas we're going to put up there, they're not up to code. They're not up to road height. So we're putting curb and gutter in a road on people's right beside their house, and we put in some that wasn't. So I'm okay with the city doing this because, to me, there's not a sidewalk needed there. It's more of a bike path. And because I looked, it's really close to their house. They got a ditch for drainage.
But they won't have a ditch for drainage after this, right? So they're going to have curb and gutter.
Correct.
Yeah. So
this road's going to have curb and gutter.
Yeah, and then no ditch, right?
Right.
But my point is, they don't need a sidewalk there. We're putting the road on them, and I think the city should include that in their cost.
I couldn't disagree with you more that they don't need a sidewalk there. That I think that is the most critical part. And so if you wanted to say they don't need a bike path and we just build a sidewalk, that would be less than ideal for me. But I think that there needs to be something there because kids are biking on the street right now and doing all different kinds of activity. But I think that's why you need to have the sidewalk assessed and do the split as Mike talked about.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. Trying to change the verbiage, and I'm going to go over to the Ward 4 representatives. You guys have voiced your concern on that road for how many years, and how people are trying to walk out there and they walk on just a little bit of the 1 foot they have, and I could imagine how many multiple near misses have already happened. That we're fortunate that we have it, and obviously we all know years ago we had a fatality out there with the pedestrian, but I no matter how we word it, it's the fact that they need a walking area. I wouldn't necessarily call it a bike path. It's a bike path / sidewalk, and it needs to be assessed as we've done all the other sidewalks in the city.
So do we want to take a quick vote so we can give Stephanie direction
Right. So,
on
and
what
the
she's
other
looking
reason
for?
why I'm asking is because that's going to impact the amount needed to balance. And like Mr. McCardle said, if you take the debt service payment out, you're right now showing $600,000 in the hole. You'd need, that gives you $600,000 positive that you could do for another project or whatever you want to move forward with.
Well, it sounds like to me that the general consensus is most people want to assess it for that. So you want to just do a quick roll call on that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Any kind of direction would be great.
Okay.
Give us the numbers exactly.
So it's a budget
3 feet and 5 feet.
increase of $715,000 if we pay for everything, and it's $650. So it's $100,000.
It's $100,000 difference.
Does that sound right, Joe? That's what we did this right. So
We'll be assessing $100,000 to the homeowners.
basically, yes.
Quick math.
Which is just
It's just
their portion.
Just the 5 feet.
5 feet of the 8.
Not very many people will lose that, correct?
It's 6 or 8 blocks.
Quite a few people here.
Right, but they'll live right along there.
It says all of the property owners here.
But do you see what I'm saying about the homeowners that actually live along that road right now?
Yeah, but
I would say that that's no
People for the
different
rest
than
of time will come ask us to pay for
Yeah.
their sidewalks.
I think that
I
this
bought my sidewalk.
it reflects
me too.
The same issue that everyone has, that putting sidewalks in is expensive, but it's a thing that's needed for ADA compliance.
So let me ask you this. Oh, sorry. Let me ask you this. So when you're looking, let's go back, Stephanie or Joe, whoever has that, between Country Drive and Kemper, you don't have any homes yet. So who's assessed
The
that?
landowner.
The landowner.
Oh, the landowner.
Yep.
Oh, got it.
Unless they sold those lots.
These are already parceled out, so whoever this is.
That's already in.
I think there's.
So I mean, there's still owners of
Sure.
those.
Okay, got it. I understand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So I guess that'd be my motion to assess the sidewalk as
So you're at the
described.
615.
There's 16 homes on that
Yes.
stretch, or 16 landowners. I'm pretty accurate. I looked at the GIS. I don't know if it's 100%.
And Stephanie, again, the homeowners or the landowners are assessed for what footage?
5 feet.
5 feet. And then the city will pay the 3 feet.
Correct.
Oops.
Okay.
Right? We're motioning.
You're motioned.
I'll second.
We have a second.
A motion by Tim, second by Marty to go.
Clarification real quick. Does that include curb and gutter? But I mean, we're not assessing the curb and gutter, are we?
No, it's just the 3 feet or the 5 feet.
The 5 feet. Okay, I just wanted to make for sure.
No.
Okay.
We're not assessing curb and gutter?
It was not included in that cost.
So they are getting a break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
this would be
Assessing for the
a
full aid.
project that we're applying for financing for.
Got it.
So basically, we're voting on the $615,395.
Okay. Jeff, would you like any more clarification?
Anything else you'd like to do before we vote as you're stalling?
He's stalling for sure.
We're voting on G.
Goldammer,
Aye.
Dosher,
Aye.
McCardle,
Aye.
Barrington,
Aye.
Bathke, Charks,
No.
Smith,
Aye.
Savers.
Told I was going to go against it.
What
No.
did
No.
you say, yes or no?
Nay.
He said nay.
So I think that is a good point, though, to make for sure that they're aware of the fact that most of the time you do with the curb and gutter. I mean, when you're assessing a road, that is part of it, and so. But there's a road there. But no curb and gutter.
Right.
You know what? I need to amend my vote. I was doing a chicken thing, and I need to say yes.
Very commendable. Very commendable. Oh.
Yeah, so council knows this would be following the same precedent that we did on Norway and Raleigh, because there was some new curb and gutter put in on Norway that was not, or excuse me, Raleigh that was not assessed as part of that sidewalk and improvement project.
Okay. Any other direction? Oh,
So real quick, I asked Joe about the possibility of a grant, and he said that it would stop this thing for a year. So it's that horse has left the barn, and then I said, let's get some bike path grant for another area then. And
I
he said,
was going to
and-
say, we do have a grant application out this year for the Dry Run Creek Trail, or Railroad Trail, excuse me, and then Joe was looking at one for out by the National Guard Road too, so.
okay. Any further direction that you need?
Anything else you need?
I'm having fun. I don't know why you guys would cut this short.
Of course, you guys said you were going to talk about it this meeting.
Let's talk about it.
You're the golf course pro.
The way it was left, if I recall correctly, Kevin, I had some questions for you regarding how the funding for this, what we've been charging for membership dues, what our green fees been historically, what have we raised for them. And my thoughts along those lines were, if I'm running a business and wanting to make improvements, I either invest in it, borrow the money. I don't come to say, give me some money, folks, you know. So what have we done to help raise some money for this project?
In 2025, the rates were raised by 5% for memberships.
And green fees?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
What percentage of rounds are paid for by green fees versus memberships? Do you know that? I would think a good share of it is green fees.
I don't have that, but I believe more so as memberships.
I'd say about equal.
Probably memberships more. Definitely you can look it up real quick.
I can't get it.
I just have a very hard time. I mean, I've had quite a few people reach out to me it's an enterprise fund and it should operate as if it's a business. It's hard for me to get around that. And we shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars.
Not a bad point, but the Corn Palace is also an enterprise fund.
And
Look at the value of the Corn Palace.
I don't know if you're going to be allowed to talk.
No.
Once again, I'm with the
I'd like to let you, but it's discussion.
John on this, that it's an enterprise fund. I've said this for 3 years sitting here, that's an enterprise fund. Let's stop doing this. And we're competing against the private sector. And I just don't want to do that to this young man that is investing in Mitchell. I'm hearing family's going to move here and help him run it. Let's wrap our arms around him and see where this goes.
And there's just nothing wrong with our golf course, right? I've heard it's like one of the best in the state.
We're adding another feature, to teach kids, to teach adults, to teach families to start golf. So it's upkeep. It's moved to the next generation. It's hoping to get better. It'll grow the game. And as far as not competing, last I looked, we have a garbage truck. We have a campground that we compete against campgrounds. I mean, we can't pick and choose what we compete against. We have snow removals. There's people that do snow removal for a living. We compete against them. So, that can go on and on. But this would we got the land. The land's wasted. I don't know, Stephanie, be able to help me here. We do have another 50,000 that was put in reserves for carts.
Yep.
But as far as moving that, does that take a board decision out of there to the fund?
Council.
No, I meant the golf board.
No, just council.
Okay. There is another 50,000 there, and we do have a payloader. Now, do we need a payloader? Yes. I double checked on the payloader. Payloader is 50,000 out of the golf course, 50,000 out of the cemetery. Close as I could come in from the past, maybe 75% gets used out of the golf course, out of the cemetery. So most of it is tree removal. When you have tree removals in the winter, payloader. So I called down to Sioux Falls, and you can buy a really good used payloader for 50,000. What the golf course has funded. For there, that would give us another 50,000 that out of our balance was taking out of the golf course reserves, correct?
Yes.
And so that would give us another 100,000. So now you're talking 350 out of the golf course and 250 donate. And the huge thing is the donation.
Yeah.
If we want to move forward, the donation is there now. And so now you're talking $600,000 out of the project. Be funded. That's a whole different ballgame. And what we're doing is not remodeling. It's phase 3 is building, making it a better product. We got first tee out of, again, it was a private member doing this. They got first tee out of Sioux Falls to come and run another month of projects. They can't go to the course. You're in a driving range and a practice green. You're teaching them a game, but they can't go to the course. They go to the course one day, they slide it off because when you're full, it's a tough place to teach kids because they're in the way. This will give them 5 holes every day to teach. They could take them every day. So it makes it a lot better product. It's more than just that. And anyway, that's my spiel.
Is there a projected price increase this year, Kevin?
Not yet.
And I think Kevin had said that this would be constructed over 2 years. Is that correct?
Right. Agree with that.
I just want to say one thing real quick. I know Doug wanted to talk, but when it's council discussion, we can't have people from the audience come up and talk. That's the reason we can't do that when it's council discussion. If it was an agenda item, then it would be a problem.
It's up to council to decide whether you're going to allow.
It is an agenda item.
I'd like to let Mr. Backlund speak. Let's vote on it.
Okay, if that, I thought being it was discussion, we couldn't.
I think that's just kind of policy.
Well, no. So there are 2 times when you're required to allow public comment, and that's when it's scheduled on the agenda, which is at the beginning of the agenda, and then public hearings. But it's council's decision to decide whether or not you want to allow.
I say let the man speak. It's up to you guys, though.
Come on up, Doug.
Oh, no, he doesn't want to.
We just had to make sure we're legal. We're legal. Come on up.
All right. I'll introduce myself. My name's Doug Backlund. You better think what you're doing, Dan. I mean, one golf course almost closed because of competition from the city. And I don't think anybody in this community wants that. Now, you can't just pump another $1 million into the publicly funded golf course and cut a new guy down at his knees. I mean, give the man a chance. It's unreal. I mean, even to consider this actually is really offensive. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is getting a little bit of privacy for, I know Councilwoman Cardle and Councilwoman Dosh, you live there, and correct me if I'm wrong, he said, if you can, talk about this, did he not give you guys a surcharge for living out there, the new owner?
No, there's an HOA
surcharge,
Yep.
yeah, to raise the money. So what if they came up with $250,000? I guess, Dan, are we going to match their $250,000?
What's the question?
So if they were to raise $250,000, because I understand what you're saying about the $250,000 donation. I understand that you don't want to miss out on it. So if they did a $250,000 Wild Oak, if they did a $250,000 match, would you support that?
That's a private entity. I guess I don't get it.
So you want to compete against them? That's my whole problem. Is we're supposed to fund itself. That's why I've been saying for 3 years, it's supposed to fund itself. And I can remember, if I remember right, Mayor Everson did block it once, but we overrode it to do it. And I just we've got to stop this money. And it's an enterprise fund. There's no other way to say it. Look it up. It's supposed to self-sustain itself. It's just what it is.
So how come you haven't come up with anything on the enterprise fund and the Corn Palace for funds?
I think I've been against that also, if you've watched.
Same.
One more comment about the enterprise fund, Dan. That enterprise fund, nobody in the private sector is in direct competition with that. Nobody out here is starting a Corn Palace or trying to compete with that. That's my rebuttal to that.
I do appreciate your passion for the golf course. It is a beautiful course. Until last year, I'd never been out there. And when we were voting on it, I went out there and took a tour of it in the cemetery. It is a beautiful course. It really is. And I know what you want to do. You want to grow the sport. Wouldn't you? I would want to grow the sport too. More people paying, more money in the coffer.
Okay, so Stephanie needs direction.
So I tried to track all the stuff as Dan was going through it. So I just want to bring everybody up to where we are, so everyone's looking at the same information as me. Whoa, hey, slow down. Okay, so currently, with the changes made, we were in the hole $598,000. If you take the lake payment off, 1.2, that's put you at a positive balance of 601. So the golf course was 1.33 million. There was a $250,000 donation. There's $250,000 designated in reserves. Is that right, or is it 200? Okay. Then we've got $50,000 that's designated for cart reserves that you could take off, and $50,000 that they were going to pay out of their reserves towards the payloader. If you also cut the payloader from the cemetery, because that's the other half of that budget item, you would need $680,000 from the general fund.
If you bought a payloader for $50,000, you're buying the money pit.
No, it's 100.
It's 100 total.
Yeah, but he said they wanted to go out and buy their own for $50,000. You're buying the money pit. For $50,000.
No, it's $100,000, but it was split between the golf for 50 and cemetery.
Well, what Dan said is he could buy a $50,000 loader.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so just for the spirit of discussions, would it have to come out of the general fund, or could it come out of the future capital
It
project?
could come out of future capital.
Okay, I'm not
Yes.
endorsing it. I'm just for the spirit of discussion.
Yes.
So a couple things of just kind of feeding off of Dan when he was looking at those individual items. Dan, did you guys talk about the tractor at all? That they got a tractor on here for golf? Is that a want or a need?
That'd be a Kelly answer.
Is that the one that's listed at $55,000?
Yeah.
So several years ago, we began to lease or rent a tractor that was used for turf care out there. John Deere and that company discontinued doing that lease program. So last year we paid nothing for it, although we still have the tractor. We've been using it yet this year. We owe for a tractor.
So it is a need because we don't have one.
Correct.
We owe the money.
Yes.
Chief Dean will come out.
And Kevin, how often do they use a loader in the cemetery? And if they don't use it very often, can they borrow it from the Public Works Department?
It's cemetery and golf, and they use it for mixing product to take out on the course, be it on the greens and in those areas, in the sand traps, I will call them, and also for snow removal. They need a smaller loader and not a huge loader like what they would have at the street department.
How much trade-in would you get for that loader? Are we getting trade-in for the Komatsu that's out there now?
There was a trade-in value on it. I don't have it off the top of my head.
I also tried having Public Works give us one of their older loaders, a smaller one, and then they would upgrade theirs too. I don't know. I don't think that worked out though.
Again?
It did not work out. Okay. Just trying to share things like we had talked about with Public Works and
But
stuff.
it's important to point out, if you take the money out of the golf fund for the loader, you have to take it out of the cemetery, or else you have to add it into the general fund.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they're both going where it's the same.
Yeah, right.
And as a reminder, Dan, what number of phases do we have now? 7 or 8? What is it out there?
There's 9, and probably 2 of them with that. What do you want to say? Historical siting involved.
Oh, yeah.
The archaeological study.
The last 3 are. Mitchell will never see them in my lifetime. They were, when he designed it, we asked him to design the whole thing. You know, it's an extravagant driving range. It's,
Sure.
Practice facility out there, stuff. And actually, in phase 3 after that'd be the main 3.
So, and then I just feel like I need to make sure I point this out. Also, keep in mind, if you were not going to do the golf course, you could also then just reduce the amount coming out of future capital projects for the ice arena by that amount to offset it. So you had more in that fund for future years. Because right now, this is the positive balance. And if you don't do the project below, you could add that to future capital projects. You know, like I said, they said it was going to be a 2-year construction. Just making sure you hear all of your options.
Right. So we're deposit balance of 600. If we want to do a general fund of 680, so we'll be upside down by about 80 grand.
Yeah.
If we would move forward with this.
Or, you know, you could ask them to raise the difference.
Design work would be the first year. Construction likely wouldn't start until 2027.
So your other option would be to, if it's not going to be starting next year and it's just design, do you have an estimate on the design cost? So $200,000 for design.
He gave us a really, let's say 100 feet above type of design, just a layout, broad view of it. And in order for him to go any further into it, he would have had a design cost attached to
But
it.
did he give you, what was it last time, 10% of construction cost? 12? Yeah, so 10%. So
Probably 10%.
you're $150,000 on design.
Mhm.
You could budget for your design this year. Keep that other stuff out that Dan was referring to, and then take that balance and add to future, either reduce the amount that's coming out for the ice arena roof, so you have more in that future capital projects fund, and then you could go for that in 2027 when you actually have the design done on the golf course.
or some of the funds could be the April concept that you
Right,
mentioned before of the fire
Yep.
station, which we went to a different route.
Yep.
The over-
Or whatever else you guys talk about between now
Yeah,
and then. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to try
that
to
number.
predict.
that we're going to be over.
Okay. So what have we decided? I guess we don't need to make a golf course discussion right now.
Dan, would they? I don't know if you know the donor personally or not, but if we would just move forward with the design at this point in time, could you ask or see if
I'm not involved in that, so I
oh, you're not?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I hate to lose the 250 if we're ever going to do this. And more than likely, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
I have another thought. Sorry, I'm going all over the board. You're close here. I mean, I can make those changes on the golf course budget if that's what you're wanting to do. And, well, I guess it's going to offset. That wouldn't help. I take it back.
We don't have to. Do we have to reduce the entire lake fund, or just a portion of it?
Well,
to be balanced.
You wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to. You're right.
Okay.
So if they're not going to do the down below here, what I would suggest is just reducing this to offset the balance. At the end of the year, council can designate that towards future capital projects.
Okay.
Or if something else comes up, like the golf course, then you could move it to transfer into golf fund or whatever else you decide to do later. Just for me, I want that budget that you're going to consider at hearings to be structurally balanced.
I'm thinking we should save this topic for another time when everyone's brains are fully refreshed. Unless anyone else has anything else to add.
I have something else.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm really, yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, let's finish that.
I think I would support the design to get better numbers of what the actual project looks like and costs. And then whether that be, it's tough for me to get to the full fund, but at least it would allow them to go out and make more asks to help pay for that project.
Especially if it's not going to be built next year. I think that's an important part.
I'm not sure we want to do the design. The worst thing would be to do the design and not have it materialize. Everybody in Mitchell likes designs and studies. Especially with donated funds. I don't know where that puts it out.
You want to think about it for a while? Because we have until November.
Yeah, I think we're pretty late in the night.
Yep. Should we bring it back up?
I'll allow Stephanie to really take a look at the direction that we gave tonight, just to double check your figures and where we're at. And
is there any other questions you have for us, Stephanie?
Are we meeting next Monday? But Susan has a question.
I know we're tired, but I would just like to I'm glad that we have this in front of us, the summary of anticipated construction costs for the plaza. I think that what this demonstrates is that this is a bigger project than $500,000 is going to affect. I think it's important for us to remember this is coming from entertainment tax. The money is earmarked already. No other project is going to lose out because we are willing to pledge budget $750,000 to go towards this project, and I think we have a better chance of having a quality outcome if we have the $750,000. I don't think we'll be done. I think there will still be things that we'll want to do after I'm gone, but I'm going to fight to the death for us to have $750,000 to go towards the plaza. Again, it's coming out of a completely different budget. It's an entertainment tax. This is the exact
Stephanie,
kind of
do you want to show that
project.
little chart you made too? That would probably help support Susan's position as well.
Whew. Let's see here.
I would second that, Susan.
Thanks.
I haven't even had to bring up my pictures.
Why wouldn't you want you to do all that work for nobody to see your artwork? Yes.
So the burgundy bar shows where the 2024 entertainment tax collections are. The yellow one shows what we budgeted. The brown one shows if we stay at where we currently are, where we're 11% above last year's collection, when the average is closer to 14 if you look all year. We'd be $163,000 above budget. So the range here is going to be 60 to 163 above budget. When you look at, this is our current entertainment tax reserves. We have money designated for the Streetscape Plaza. I was showing these two numbers. I think I said 115,000 at the last meeting because Marshall asked me that question, but it was 100,000 and then 10,568. We still have $600,000 designated for Corn Palace improvements, and then there's $451,000 that's unobligated. So with the $750,000 for the plaza as proposed, and if I add in the amount above budget for 2025, and that we're going to end up not spending some of those budgeted funds this year. Some of that was coming out of reserve, but that's a difference. What we're showing for cash applied next year and using those full reserves, we were still going to have $528,000 of unobligated reserves in the entertainment tax fund after the Plaza project, and still have the $600,000 for the future Corn Palace improvements. That's with the $750,000 included in the project. I didn't say this very clearly at the last meeting, so the goal was we would fund the removals and the kind of landscaping features and try to seek out sponsorships for those features to add to the plaza.
So, and I don't know what totally this would get us if we had the $750,000. But I think that it will be something that we can be proud of, at least that we'll be able to say, look what we've done with $750,000, as opposed to, well, we tried. We didn't really make a big impact, but we, covered up a parking lot or whatever. So I would just really like to see us go back to the $750,000, and I would make that as a motion.
We got a motion.
And it's been
Tim
seconded and thirded.
Tim seconded.
Tim seconded it. Okay, well, let's do further discussion. Go ahead.
No, I just thirded.
Thirded it. Do we get a fourth? All right, let's do a quick roll call unless anyone else has anything.
Yeah, when the number came out a long
Jeff's
time ago,
looking for clarification.
yeah, the number came out a long time ago, 1.6. Immediately, my thought was, whoa. And it is still whoa at 1.6. I was always on a lower number. Maybe it was a million or under, but I wasn't at 1.6, and I can definitely support the 750. So.
Yeah, and the one thing that I want to point out is Dave had mentioned to me that they are looking for sponsorships and having great conversations. And of course, this will have to come back to council anyway. And so given that the fact of a sponsor, I'm going to be supporting this, and hopefully we can land it.
Seems like everything we send back to the architect for different numbers, we get about a half anyway. So maybe we'll get this whole thing done anyway.
That's what we're doing is we're going to, you guys, your motion is $750,000 to send it back to Confluence and say, we now have budgeted $750,000. Show us what we can get.
And there's a chance that there may be some sponsorship dollars out there as well.
I hate that idea.
But Mike,
you tell somebody what you got for money and tell them what you.
Mike, I agree though. I think we need to know what could be accomplished with $750,000.
Right.
That would be my intention. Yeah.
So what we're okaying here is a total of $750 for the project, not $750 this year and $500 next year and another $300.
I won't be here to push that through.
We don't know what's going to happen in that part of the future.
But I might be out there saying, let's do more.
Answer my question, please.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're saying. $750 out of the entertainment tax dollars, which is already earmarked and in the budget.
And that'll be the total project.
Unless some future council wants to change it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless a future council wants to change it.
Which has happened.
Okay. All right, let's do a quick vote. Roll call.
McCardle,
Aye.
Barrington,
Aye.
Bathke,
No.
Charts,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Savers,
Goldammer, Dosher,
No.
6-2. Okay. Anything else before? We're looking for a match.
Is there
You got
anything
something
else
else?
before we leave?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up one thing here.
I have one more.
So, I would like an update from Kevin, if he has one,
Kevin's here.
to replace the tennis courts. I've had a conversation with Mayor Hansen. I totally understand, but people need to understand that 2.5 million is not just tennis courts. It is quite an elaborate plan. So, where are we at with money, and just say what we're doing for that.
I'll start too. I cut it out of the budget because it was as much as a fire station. So go ahead, Kevin.
Bam.
So that tennis court figure of 2.5 million would include 8 new courts, replacing 4 where they currently are, replacing 4 north of courts 1 through 4, which is over near the baseball field. So between the new 4 and the band shell. So in that area would be 4 other ones. Then a new parking area. So the current parking along the tennis courts would move over to the east end of the park, just south of the playground by 50 yards or so, which would be on the east end of those 4 courts. Yes, there would be design and construction of the parking lot as well as where the tennis courts would be. I understand tennis has come back and said we agreed we'd fund the tennis courts or half of the tennis courts, not the parking lots and all of the other additions to that. But I said it's part of a package. We can't just say, all right, we'll build the tennis courts, and I can't say that the city's going to pick up the difference. But we need financing or funding regardless of what happens with that. It sounds like tennis could come up with some dollars between the school and the tennis association. Tennis association will be willing to apply for a grant from USTA Tennis. It sounds like in that case it could be used only for tennis. Well, only lined only for tennis and not used for pickleball in that purpose. It would need to be a post-tension product that's out there. Lighting could be applied for in a separate grant. If school were to go in on this process, they would hope to finance through the city in terms of, and how long that is, we never got to that far in the conversation.
So the school has not given you any direction financially what they're willing to put into it.
When I said 50% of the project,
They said no.
I didn't hear no.
So
Okay,
Kevin,
good.
the total cost is 2.5. What were you talking about for grant and other donation funds to offset?
What I indicated to them was that they need to come up with half of the cost for the tennis courts
Between the school and the
and
or
Mitchell
together?
Tennis. Between the two of them, they'd have to come up with half of it.
Okay.
Correct.
That was by your direction, you're saying.
Correct. I said generally
Based on what I guess parameters has this been done with other groups, I guess.
Generally speaking, when council has had a match of 50% coming in, that's what they have agreed to it, that they would go forward with that.
Yeah.
If prices have changed after that, then sometimes the city has absorbed that difference.
So the match, I don't know of any match other than the pickleball courts. Does that match include the parking lot?
Would they pay for the parking lot, you mean?
Yes.
There's nothing in writing in terms of what they've said so far.
Okay.
I mean, it's been email and face-to-face conversations.
Okay. Because I don't want to talk numbers. I did talk with Jacob tonight about it and explained to him, this is probably not going to happen unless something crazy happened here tonight. And they get it. I get it. When Mayor Hansen told me, I get it. But I do have serious concerns about the courts, longevity, and we'll address it. But I thought, we've paid for a design, correct, Joe?
Yeah, it's been budgeted.
Okay, so they've started. They're not quite done. But I thought we were going east of those 4 courts, Joe.
Okay. Oh my God.
The meeting I sat in, I thought we discussed moving them
Go east.
to the east so they would be by the
I haven't
shed.
seen this, so I'm sorry.
East right to the sidewalk.
That's what I thought was north.
And then scroll down to.
Wait.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Those are the other 4 with that parking lot that Kevin was talking about.
If you can see them.
You can see the park shelter to the northwest of it or to the upper left.
That's the park
Correct.
And then which parking lot are we referring to?
The parking lot is right there. Playground will be directly up from that or north.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to speak up for him to keep it because I know Mr. Dozier said it's a lot of money. It's not in the budget. So we followed through with the design, and the kids and the adults, they're growing. We have a great coaching staff now. They're growing. I just told him I would make sure that we're keeping it on our radar that it needs to be fixed.
Could I add something else to this as well? Since they would never want to be without it, having at least 8 courts out there, in all likelihood, those 4 courts would have to be built first. So there was always 8. Then the other 8 would be disassembled, and then 4 more courts would be built. I don't know that all of that could happen in 1 year.
What's just the 4 courts cost? I don't know if that's too much information. Why are you laughing? Okay, never mind. I withdraw my question.
Smaller, but what was the bid on that, Joe?
The Tennis Association raised a lot of money when they put those last new 4 courts in.
Yeah, they have a lot of money.
They had a lot of donors.
Yep. I'm not going to speak to the numbers because Jordan and I had a private conversation, or not Jordan, Jacob and I had a private conversation. I didn't want to say any numbers because they're not finalized, but they're willing to put a substantial amount of money themselves towards this project. I don't know if they can get to the 50%. That's why I was asking about what we've done in the past. Right. Maybe.
There's not fun in the parking lot.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah. Are we meeting Monday, the 29th? I need to know the next schedule
So I'm going to throw this out, you guys. I think we're really close. Could we meet at 5 before our next council meeting?
That's next Monday.
Are we really close? I think we're $680,000 off.
We're doing good.
We're positive.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll give them the printers.
We're good.
I agree with you. But taking next Monday, which would be our off Monday, correct? Right. Taking off would be, I think, a good thing for everybody involved, and then more
Then we got 3
public
weeks.
input, whatever it may be, and then come back because I think we can clean up a lot of this a little bit before a council meeting.
Yeah.
It might take a couple little hour sessions or something like that, but I think we're really dialed in with this. A couple little entities that we have
Okay.
floating out there,
So October 6th,
and
you're
let's
saying?
At the
open up a
first
Monday
meeting
for
in
all of us.
October?
So on October 6th, if we start at 5 and we can't get it done in an hour,
We can finish it after.
Can we put
Finish
budget at the end of council?
Yeah, we could finish it.
Okay.
We've done that before.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm assuming what you would like me to see is start incorporating these to double check how everything is flowing to make sure the numbers are still matching, and then you can look at that final tally at the next work session.
Correct.
That sound good? Okay. I don't need anything else.
And there's a few questions out there that we need to get, that we talked about bringing back and getting some information too, so. All right, good job, guys.
Do you adjourn this?
We're adjourned.